Dang it. I am so pissed. I was struggling to start this stupid thing while it was still 11 o'clock. I was trying, and I failed. And I have failed. Horrifically. So, anyway, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I'm your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota that is LGBT-friendly, as the only employee is both late and gay. That's the L and the G, covered from LGBT. So, anyway, small law firm in central Minnesota, and today we are endeavoring to finish Ronversations by Proxy, the interview. In fact, I just realized I called it part 7, but it's actually part 8, so I'm changing that right now. And this is I'm gonna try to get through everything, because this is the last show I'm doing on this interview. 8 shows is way too many, and I hate it. I hate the interview now. I've hated it for a long time, and I know some other people are also in the realm of hating the rest of this interview. But I set out to do the whole thing, and I try to do my best to keep the things that I say. All right? So, we're going to get into it in just a little bit and get finished with it. Some people are asking about other Ronversations by Proxy, and they are on the table. They're low priority. I'm getting really tired of doing them. But I know people really want to see me react to the Emish interview, where Emish joined DA Talks, and interviewed Ron and gave him a little bit of a grilling, so to speak. And so I do think that I might do that interview, but I think what I will do to avoid Ron just repeating the same things over and over, which are clear lies. Like this, I hope that this has done one thing for everybody, and that's to show that Ron acts completely differently when he's on camera and when he's trying to put on his pageant girl face for the camera and for the internet than he does when he thinks that I don't even know. It's like something about the camera changes who he is. And he's suddenly this like contrite, wizened sage, or whatever. I mean, he's not, but that's what he seems to have as his opinion of himself. But when he's just behind a keyboard and there's no camera present, the way he acts on Twitter and the way he acts on Kiwi Farms is incongruous with the way he talks on his interviews. And now there is a what's up, RGE? RGE guys, welcome to the show. I have not sent a shout out to the RGE community, but they raid almost every night, it feels like, and they come in after RGE is done with his show, and I appreciate that very much. So thank you guys. Shout out to Raging Golden Eagle. Make sure you back Blade Devil. I believe it's still in demand on Indiegogo. Huge success. I can't wait for my copies of Blade Devil to show up. Yeah, but make sure you check it out and check out Raging Golden Eagle's channel. He covers a bunch of great stuff and he's hilarious. I like him. Stooge Muffin Stuffin'. I think so. What was it? It depends. I got a bunch of gifts lately, and I am sure I got it, but I'm not necessarily putting it all together. If I did not shout it out on the show, please send me a direct message and let me know, and I'll be sure to bring it up. I do have a couple things to show tonight that are gifts as well. But real quickly, back to what I was saying about Ronversations. If I do the interview with Emish, I'm going to skip the DA talk section. Black Lagoon. Oh, yes, I did. It's upstairs. I'll make sure and thank you properly for it tomorrow. I will. But yes, I did get it. Thank you. I will be limiting the Ronversations by Proxy to just Emish's portion of the interview, and maybe even to just specific sections of it, depending on how long it goes. I think it's only an hour, so it should only take me 15 episodes to get through it. Yeah, so that being said, if I do another Ronversations by Proxy, it will be that. Other Ronversations would be direct communications with Ron, would be the goal. I am not going to cover everything that Ron does or spews onto the internet. I may make fun of him from time to time on his Stan Dolan stuff. I'm sure you've all seen by now that Ron posted the receipts of Monica asking for her $700 by email. Now, what would be really interesting, though, would be to see what the original agreement was, and to see if that $700 travel budget was part of the deal. And then what would be extra interesting to know would be whether or not that $700 was paid, and whether or not Ron was either misinformed. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time Monica didn't tell him something, or if he was just lying. You know, one of those two. Either one of those might be really interesting. Both of those might be really interesting. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe Stan would want to come on and talk about it at some point. I don't know if he would. I haven't asked him to come on and talk about it or anything like that. But, you know, Ron's making a lot of accusations, and his evidence is merely an email requesting something, which is pretty sad. But anyway, that being said, Ulashed. Oh man. Yes, it has been dragged out. It's been dragged out. Okay, so a couple updates. I think a lot of people missed what happened last week in regards to DSP, so I'm going to announce it. I've already seen a couple people in the chat, and I've seen a couple questions pop up in the YouTube comments. DSP at the beginning of last week said he may come on Thursday or Friday of last week. He might be able to. DSP contacted me, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday, or I guess it was a little before the beginning. Anyway, it was early on. He mentioned that he may come on Thursday or Friday. Then later in the week, but still earlier than Thursday, I think it might have been Wednesday, he said he would be unable to come on either Thursday or Friday of that week because of some stuff, and I'm not going to disclose it, but he did give me some reasons, and those reasons are perfectly understandable. But I'm, you know, that's just between me and him, and that's fine. No animus towards Phil on that at all. The reasons are certainly things that I get. Absolutely. I asked him if he would come on this week. He said he would see. I do not currently have a DSP slot to fill. Unfortunately, he hasn't given me anything concrete enough to say that I'm definitely going to have him on the show. I would love to have him on the show. I want to have a good conversation with him about being a content creator over the past 10 years, dealing with varying responses from, the community that he's cultivated, and going from, the early days and then moving into now where he has detractors who watch and support his show while they're even negative about him, and just talking about how that works out. And getting his perspective on things like internet harassment or bullying, all of that. I want to have that conversation with Phil. I think he's a great person to have that conversation with. And there's no like drama between me and Phil or anything like that. I know we had some like little banter back and forth early on, and some people are like, oh, after Phil said this about you, it's like, look, guys, that doesn't bother me. It really doesn't bother me. Water under the bridge, so to speak. So I don't know if Phil will ever come on the show. I really genuinely hope he does, and he has an open invitation to do so. But at this point, there is no scheduling of Phil currently on the book. That being said, I am working on a guest who has agreed to come on the show. It's just a matter of the appropriate timing, and we're working that out. But ladies and gentlemen, today I spoke with a personal hero of mine, Mr. Christopher Hook. Mr. Christopher Hook. So, as soon as possible, and workable within his schedule and his court hearings and all of the stuff that he has to deal with, I did speak with him today by email, and we are hoping to put together a show for Chris Hook. So, and I cannot wait to have that show. I think that's going to be one of the most fun shows we'll have had in a while. If you don't know who Chris Hook is, because not everybody followed all of the sagas, and I was thinking about this, guys. This was like in January or something when this all went down, or February, or maybe even last year. I don't know. Chris Hook is an attorney out in California, and he was in he was representing a couple in a dispute with their insurance carrier, Allstate. And after a couple of depositions, things got very heated on Chris's end, where he smelled the proverbial blood in the water, and he started sending emails that ended up going viral on Twitter and stuff, with people like, Law Twitter or whatever spreading them around. Probably hand-wringing over it, but he called opposing counsel a flurry of different words. He said, "Pay up, gay boys." He said, "Pay up, gay boys." I can't take it. It was one of the funniest things I've seen in the course of this show, and so he ended up getting in quite a bit of trouble for it from the court. The court sanctioned him by ordering him to pay attorney's fees for Allstate, which I think is absolute atrocity that he would do that, or that the judge would do that. But so after all of that, dust has settled a little bit. I was able, a fan actually, and I don't remember who it was off the top of my head. I could find out real quick, because I should really give a shout out to that guy. Let me do that. A fan put us in touch. This is from Dubsky Dude. That's who sent me the email. I don't know what his screen name is on the show, but Dubsky Dude, thank you very much for making sure we get connected. I can't wait. So, as far as scheduling the show for Chris Hook, We have to time it because he has some ongoing matters that I would not want anything on our show to influence it. But I've invited him on to both discuss the Allstate matter if he chooses. He's not said yes or no on that. But I've invited him to discuss that matter in particular. But I've also given him a general invitation to come on for any other topic as well, because I think he'll just be a good guest. So that being said, that connection has been made, and I am very excited for it. So, all right. And I will let you guys know as soon as I know when that show will be. All right. Let me thank you guys. Let me thank the, I've got 2 gifts to thank on this Stooge Muffin Stuffin'. I will thank you properly when I have the Black Lagoon copy in my hand. But it's upstairs and I don't want to leave the desk right now. Sir Holy Phoenix, I would love to have him on a Big Brain panel. I will have to see if he'd be up for something like that. So this, Bria Rose, I see you in the chat. This is from Bria Rose, and this is what I will be imbibing at least a little bit tonight. This is a 12-year Lagavulin. 12-year. This is 57.8% alcohol. This is like drinking an oil spill that has been lit on fire. It is great. I love it. Thank you very much. It's really hard to get this where I am. I have to drive a couple hours to buy this bottle. And I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So I also read your note, and thank you for the heartfelt sentiment. I really appreciate it. The other gift that I've got to talk about and thank is from, let's see. This is from Cold Wolf. It says, just wanted to send you a little gift to show my support. Been following you since February 2019 when you had Doug T on to talk about the Vic snafu. I appreciate all the laughs you bring in, especially the rants. So on the shirts is one of my favorite quotes of yours. And I forgot I said this quote, but I'll admit it's a good one. It's a good one. I like it. Hope they fit. I would know your shirt size if you ever check your damn email. I apologize. I have a love-hate relationship with my email. And by that, I mean I hate it. I hate it. Even though Drex doesn't drink, I think he does not. Feel free to give him whichever one doesn't fit you. I don't know if it'll actually fit Drex, but I have someone else. I have someone else in mind who it may fit if it doesn't fit him. Hope you and your family are doing well, and just know you have a buddy up in Alaska watching your antics and laughing my ass off at all of the Moronicas and soyas you grind into dust. Stay safe, brother. We'll send you another package as soon as I can get it put together. Thank you, Cold Wolf. And here's a shirt. Here's a shirt. It says, alcohol is the KY jelly of the mind. Which is, yeah, that's a good line. I like that line. So, thank you. Thank you. All right. Let me pour a little bit of glass of this Lagavulin. Someone says this sounds terrible. Yeah, you can't really describe Lagavulin to someone who's not into it and have it sound good. But yeah, it's like Lagavulin 16 is like eating the remains of a campfire, or drinking, like putting them all in a blender and just drinking the remains of a campfire. Lagavulin 12 is like that, but washing it down with oil, because it just coats the inside of your mouth. It's great. This is a very good. Smells like smoke. And it's that I admit that description sounds terrible. I admit the description sounds terrible. But trust me, it is anything but. It is great. So, cheers. Oh, it just hangs around in your mouth, burning and smoking. Oh, it's good. Noah, yes, I connected with Who Are These Podcasts? Thank you. I did check my email on that one, and I did connect with Carl, and I just have to pick the appropriate day that'll work. So we are connected there. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's hit this early chat from the Pie Baker, and then we're gonna jump into the video. Oh, I gotta get up to the right space on the video. I gotta see where we left off. Just a second. I forgot I rescheduled my. There's Ronversations 6. Wait, is this 7? Well, maybe it was just part 6 was the last one. I thought I had a... Okay, so this should be part 7, not part 8. Weird. Okay. So I had it right the first time, and I've screwed it up. That's fine. Where are we on this? Okay. There's less than an hour of interview left, and I don't think Ron's on for all of it. So let me... 4 hours, 23 minutes, 48 seconds. 4 hours, 23 minutes, 48 seconds. So let me go to the Knuckleheads. Oh, it's actually saved. Okay. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. Let's get this thing pulled up here. I'll leave the chat up. That way, if you guys want to... It's easier to follow the chat. Let me get my headphones. Oh, there's some other stuff that I'm going to talk about too. I meant to do some short videos over the weekend, and I just did not end up having time. I had too much family stuff going on, which is a good problem to have. But there's a bunch of stuff going on. So watch for some short videos starting tomorrow. You've got Keemstar and his fees. I'm going to go over and solidify that. I'll also check to see if there's an update on there. We've got this story, which Andy... Are you guys familiar with Andy Ngo? I don't know how to say his last name. NGO. He's an independent reporter who does a lot of stuff on Twitter. He's been covering the riots, and he pointed out this, which is these 22 people who were arrested facing federal charges after a weekend protest at the courthouse in Portland. So look for a video on these Fed charges that are coming for some of these people. Some of them are probably good charges. Some of them are charges that I think might be a little bit ridiculous. And that's okay. You know, the feds are going to charge out stuff that is, they're not, just because the protesters are shit when they act, doesn't mean all of them are shit. And it doesn't mean that the feds are always right. And just because the feds are feds doesn't mean they're always right or wrong either. So I'll be delving into those, and like I said, some of the charges look legit, others of the charges look kind of stupid, like, okay, now you're just being cunts about it. But you know, we'll take a look at the Fed charges. We'll take a look at all of that stuff. And Andy, I'm going to use some of his tweets because he's been able to link some of the stuff out. That guy is really cool. You should probably follow him if you're interested in very, very much independent live journalism on some of this stuff. He seems to be a pretty straightforward dude. He's also the guy who had a cement milkshake thrown at him last year. So that is stuff that I'll be covering. People are asking me about updates in Meyer versus Wade. There are no updates in Meyer versus Wade. They are in discovery right now. And I believe that is going through October. Maybe it's September or late August. I haven't checked the specific date in a while, but it's a while. So there's just nothing to really report on that. And your boy Zach has been, how do I word this? Appropriately tight-lipped on case details that are not public. So throughout this process, I've had a few chats with Zach, and he's talked to me about various things, but he doesn't, I mean, whatever is going on in the lawsuit, he doesn't give me like the inside info that I can release or anything like that. He has been running a very quiet prosecution of this lawsuit. And, you know, for some people that works, right? So, and it's not my job to disrupt that. But there are no updates beyond the fact that they're in discovery right now, and that calendar is pushed out through either September or October, I believe. So that's where that case is. As far as Sargon, I haven't seen any updates yet in Sargon's case. I know that, what's her face? Akila's lawyer has asked to respond, and, you know, that could just be driving up the fees that Akila has to face. So we'll see. But there's no real updates there. I'm trying to get my hands on the Bieber documents where he went after Twitter. Well, he kind of went after Twitter. He successfully got a judge to order Twitter to disclose the identifying information of a couple women who accused him of some sexual impropriety, and that's fantastic. I've got to cover the shitty media men defamation case that's going on. We talked a little bit about a lawsuit against Disney for Pirates of the Caribbean, which ties into, in my opinion, the Anis Abdin lawsuit over Star Trek Discovery. There's a bunch of stuff out there. So be watching for short videos on all of this stuff coming out this week. Jalapeno Cheddar says, in Lemon's voice, to the tune of the weight, I picked up my bag. I was looking... Wait. To the tune of the weight. What is the weight? Let's see. Hold on. I have no idea what tune this is. I have no idea what tune this is. The band, you fake boomer? I don't... What band? The band is... The Way? Oh, it's The Way! Like, where were we go? Yeah, okay. I got it. I know this song. Yeah. I picked up my bag, looking for GoFundMe. When I saw Ron and the devil walking side by side, I said, hey, Ron, come on, let's go fund me. He said, I got to go, but my fiance can stick around. Jesus, this is difficult to do. Take a super chat, Nikki. Read a chat for free. Take a super chat, Nikki. And you add it to the GoFundMe. I can't get to the rest of the tune. I apologize. That's a tough one to weigh into it. But Fastball the Way, right? Like that's the song, I think, but I don't know. Other than that, I have no idea. So I massacred it, and that's where it's going to be. The Texan 83 says, Aramin has her pen now, and I haven't forgotten ties, just having issues with the wood being too soft. Well, look, I mean, as we get older. But I, working some solutions, as well as one for Vic, if I can figure out how to carve or cast brass. So very cool. Thank you for the update on that. Sakaki Onsai says, Lynn Wood, Nick Sandman's attorney, versus Mark Zaid, Kookmeister General, has been happening on Twitter with violating NDA about the terms of the settlement. Possible casualty in this, Brian Stetler, who leaked info on the settlement. Wait, Brian Stetler leaked info about the settlement? What did he leak? What did he say? What? The band's name is The Band? What the hell band is that? The Pie Baker. I did skip over your chat. I got it. I'll get it in just a second. $25K to make it go away? It's got to be more than $25K. Anyway, yeah, I'll have to look. No, 250 million was what they were suing for. What they would get in settlement is going to be considerably lower. Considerably lower. The CNN settlement, I actually said back when CNN settled that I wouldn't be surprised if that was for $0, but for information that they could use, information and emails and communications that they could use as leverage over the other people. So the CNN settlement could have been really, really low. The CNN settlement could have been really, really low if they got something big and information out of them. I would think that the Washington Post settlement that followed would be much larger. Anyway, if my dad listened to a lot of Dylan when I was younger, and I very likely know the tune to this song if I actually heard it, but I haven't, so sorry. If that. But okay, let's, Pie Baker says, as Ron, it's my money and I need it now. Lamorny, call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now. Perfect. Demon Slayer, if the state arrested federal officers while the federal officers were not actually violating a state law and were in the commission of their official duties, it would be a shit show. Also, real quick, and then we'll start the interview, I promise. I heard that James Woods was chatting with Greg Doucette, or bantering with Greg Doucette on Twitter, but I couldn't see it. I was on my phone, and on a computer, I can open an incognito tab to see the original, but on the phone, you can't copy links from the Twitter app, which is garbage. But So anyway, I'm curious to see what that was. I could probably look it up, but let's do this interview. Today is the interview. Today is the interview. How long before T. Greg abandons James Woods? Like he abandoned his son. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Hades James Woods. Pull up the tweets. Oh, I guess we could do. I guess this technically is my show, isn't it? Thank you, Kami Destroyer, for sending me the link to the music. Okay. Let me see if I can find this. James Woods tweets 1,000,000 times an hour, so I just have to find the one with that I can't see because that'll be T. Gray's. Oh, that's someone else. Oh, here we go. Okay, copy link address. Wait, I'll do this. Let me incognito, baby. All right. So here is the tweet. It's, I guess I could turn the audio on for everybody, myself included. Okay, hold on. Jesus. Okay, T. Greg Doucette says, Portland, Oregon, federal stormtroopers hold a protester's face in a tear gas cloud for an extended span of time and no protection. This is torture, by the way. Let's see. And James Wood says, maybe I'll sneak a slice of key lime pie for dessert tonight. Sinfully delicious. So clearly James Woods doesn't care at all about what's happening here. But let's see the torture that T. Greg is saying. Okay.
Help! Help! I can't breathe!
I mean, okay. Let's talk about this. You've got, of course, as always, we don't know what's leading up to this encounter. We don't know what's leading up to this encounter. But here, I'll turn the volume down because that was horrendously loud. They've got a guy. Hold on, let's try and get the beginning of that again. So he's there. They're pushing him back. They trip him. And they're effecting arrest, right? Because if we zap ahead to when the cloud clears, he's whining. And I'm sure he's in a shitload of pain. But they're putting cuffs on him right here. They're not. I think T. Greg is, of course, if you don't know what T. Greg is up to lately, he is attempting to grift off of his newfound popularity. And his popularity is basically entirely from the coverage of the protests. He had a tweet go mega viral. But let's take a look at it real quick because this is interesting. I just want to point out something about T. Greg in general. So if you notice, he's up to 134,400 followers. He blew up, right? He grew an extra 100,000 followers. He's got a new gay avatar here. And his police brutality mega thread. Look at the engagement. 1.1K, 45. Oh, he's retweeting Dunford. That's embarrassing. Stop. God, he just tweets so much. 161, 12, 82, 38, 51, 38, 104, 116, 54. This man has 130,000 followers. 43, 82, 26, 32, 21, 35. Oh, this one's got 1.2K on that. Here we go. Because he mentioned Breonna Taylor. 39, 121 when he retweets himself. 473. Oh, good. Good. 266. Look at the engagement on this guy. It's... No one can stand him, even the people who willingly follow him. He's terrible at this. He's terrible at this. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because even T-Greg, who finds himself, for some reason, accidentally face-planting into success, and the man still can't translate it to success. He's critically allergic to succeeding in life. And it's goddamn embarrassing. Oh. Oh, Jesus. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what you would do if you had 135,000 people say, I want to follow and listen to you? I want to hear what you have to say. You have that opportunity. You have the chance to speak to 100,000 people every day, and you can't translate that into anything useful. Whew. I mean, damn. That's just sad. Mike Dunford, of course. He was retweeting Mike Dunford, so that, I'm sure there's some wise discussion going on in Mike Dunford, the academic attorney. Okay. No, he's not. That's the point, Albert Wexter. He's not successful. He should be. Look, if... credit to T. Greg, assuming he didn't buy his followers. Now, I know there's some allegations that he bought his followers. I don't have any information to support that. I have no, I don't know how you buy followers. I don't know why you would spend money to get no engagement. I don't get it. That being said, I'm assuming his growth is actually real and organic. I have to give him some props, right? Convincing that many people to click a button on Twitter is hard. It's hard to do. Try it. Try getting the attention of 100,000 people. And not only that, but to get them to say, oh, okay, this guy's my flavor, and click on it. It's really difficult. Unless you're a titty streamer, right? Then you can do it pretty easy. But, and maybe he is. I don't know. But to then take that successful thing that you did and just throw it on the ground and piss on it and then eat the glass with urine all over it, that's a dumb move. So anyway, let's do this interview. So I backed it up a couple seconds from where we left off. What? Oh, it's muted. Okay, we're still a couple seconds from where we left off. Now it's unmuted.
Our section of the lawsuit. We have this information. It never got there to need it because he submitted affidavits that were contradictory after TCPA stage. You see? So
No. We don't see. And it wasn't after TCPA stage. It was during the TCPA itself that he submitted those affidavits. And contradictory to what? To you?
We didn't need that because Slatosh did not present the affidavit until the last hour, and that's when our lawyer's like, hey, we want to depose him.
I would say...
No, you didn't want to depose him. You wanted to depose him on the fee hearing, Ron. On the fee hearing. That has nothing to do with the TCPA, and Chris Slatosh has no information that would be relevant to the fees. If your lawyer told you otherwise, then he's lying to you. I don't know how to express it. I think Ron doesn't care that his lawyers appear to be lying to him because he's winning. But Slaytosh would have no basis on a fee and sanction hearing. None. If you think Slaytosh lied in his affidavit, go after him for it. But that's not a proper thing to do at a fee hearing for Vic. That's a separate thing. Phoenix Lord Osterman says, those girlish screams kill me, I won't lie. I dislike the Fed stepping in, but wow, there's some golden videos coming out of this. Seeing these entitled brats that loot and assault people getting beaten back is incredibly satisfying. Did you guys see the wall of veterans? The wall of vets that now I guess is standing between the wall of moms and the wall of whiners? I looked, like I saw headlines like wall of vets, and I looked and I saw the same fat chicks and skinny boys, and I was like, what vets? I don't see the vets standing up. I don't know what kind of veterans there are. I know nothing about this. I don't know. I'm not, I'm limited to the vets that I know, and none of the vets that I know would be out messing around with this stuff at all. Like, even if they agree with them, they just wouldn't be out there doing that. So that, God, that was just weird. Reckless, you assume a large chunk of those followers haven't been bought. Yeah, I do assume that because I don't have information to the contrary. I have allegations. I've seen some people like trying to metric it out and say, he's buying them in these waves, but I can't confirm that, so I'm not going to accuse someone of that. That's for other people. So, vets as in veterinarians. Maybe. But I was just like, oh, okay. Anyway, let's get back to this. Sorry, that was off topic.
I would say lead strong. Honestly, save yourself X amount of money and say, hey,
all of it.
I have audio saying this guy saying the reason why.
All of it. Save yourself all the money. Put the audio of him out there. You can't controvert it. Like if he's sitting there saying, yeah, I'm going to glass this guy for whatever, what are you going to argue? Well, there goes the thing. They likely drop the cause of action. This is how lawsuits work. If you know that you're going to get fisted because of information that the other side gives to you in discovery, you can amend your petition and remove those causes of action. Say, whoa, damn, we didn't know that this was happening, especially when it's between other parties than the parties to the lawsuit, right? So if you had audio of Slaytosh that would bury this case, you definitely should have, one, you should have disclosed it during discovery, you lying sack of shit. You're only obligated to by law. But two, you of course should put that out there. You should, Ron, everyone wants to know if Slaytosh is lying. Everyone. Not just your supporters, by the way. Vic supporters want to know if Slaytosh lied because that messes with Vic's lawsuit. I want to know if Slaytosh is lying. Absolutely. Because that messes with my reporting on it. That messes with the people that I'm sending information to. We all want to know if anybody is lying. Of course we do. You people think we're like sycophantically following this suit. No. The problem is no one believes you because you haven't put out anything. So people are assuming that you're lying. But if you and Monica and Marky would to actually peel back the fat layers and produced something that wasn't a video from 2015 of like a happy customer getting the Tamaki coffee line, if you could have produced anything other than that, people would have actually believed you. Because if Vic were a sexual predator, nobody wants to support him. No one. If he were actually awful, people would run away as fast as possible. Because that's how people are. The problem is, Vix put up a lot of stuff. You guys haven't put up anything. So what are we stuck with? What are we stuck with here? Your accusations and then evidence from the other side. Vic's side. Vic's evidence is Slaytosh's affidavit, his sworn affidavit. Remember, you're very big on sworn affidavits when they go for you. You're very little on them when they go against you. But Slaytosh's sworn affidavit. Oh, and the text messages. But if there's a different narrative that happened on the phone, everyone wants to know. Everyone wants to know this.
Why he canceled him.
Right, but that's again where somebody miscalculates their position, and you're in a position where you know for a fact you got all this like that's where we can sit there and be not afraid for a lawsuit that's looking at 1.5 million, because it's like, if you think that's all that we have, that's where it's going to be fun, because it's coming. The stuff with Chuck, that's coming.
Put it out. Put it out. If Chuck's lying, nobody wants to support Chuck. Put it out. What do you got? Or are you threatening Chuck? Are you threatening Chuck? Maybe you're threatening Chuck again.
Stuff with Slaytosh, it's coming. We wanted to depose these fools for a reason. And whether we get the lawsuit pursued or in the end, it's coming out for those fuckers.
Okay. And Ken wants to say something.
So Ron, there's Ron nicely, just mildly threatening Chuck and Slaytosh. So that's good. By the way, I don't know if you guys know this. I have been accused of threatening Chuck Huber. I've been accused of threatening Chuck Huber on several occasions. Here's Flappy Ron actually threatening Chuck Huber. I just want that out there to those people who have threatened me of accusing Chuck Huber, or I said that backwards, who have accused me of threatening Chuck Huber. In no way. One, what the hell would I do at all? Two, I don't threaten people, but Ron does. Pay attention to the words people actually say and the things people actually say about them, please.
Yeah, go ahead, Ken.
I think there's a problem, though, with your right of association thing. Is, yes, you have the right to associate with anyone you want. But if there's been a bunch of fires in the neighborhood, and I come to your business and say, look, there's been a lot of fires in this neighborhood recently. I might be able to help you from not having that happen if you give me $100 every week. But I can't guarantee if you don't have a fire, if you don't help, if I don't get that money from you, you don't have to associate with me, but that kind of underlying tone in the presentation of it could come across as, I'm gonna light your shit on fire unless you pay me $100 a week.
But see, that's where that would be a bribe, right?
That's what you did, Ron. How are you this dumb?
That's a this for that. I didn't do that.
You did.
All I said was, because of this, I'm no longer doing this. That is my choice.
Ron, well, because you didn't give me $100, I'm no longer not setting your business on fire. You fucking idiot. You fell into the trap. Look at Crumb's face. Absolutely nails it right there. Damn it. What a dummy.
I didn't say, hey, you know what? If you do this, I'm going to need this, this, and this. I'm going to need you to give me all these net tangible benefits. I'm going to need you to... None of it.
Net tangible benefit is not a part of any of that. By the way, like, net tangible benefit is a phrase that Ron just created right there to do what a lot of people do. When they're talking about something that is in a field that is above common understanding or beyond common understanding, they will, if they It doesn't matter if they know the field or not, but if they're trying to speak authoritatively in the field, they will complicate the language unnecessarily. So net tangible benefit, like if you break down that phrase, extortion, bribery, tortious interference don't require a net tangible benefit. Those are two qualifiers that aren't even needed. In fact, benefit isn't even required for tortious interference. There is no benefit requirement for tortious interference at all. So Ron created an overly complicated set of an overly complicated phraseology to describe something that doesn't actually exist to support his position. Partly because Ron's an idiot, and the other part because Ron is trying to condescend to his audience and, Chrysidia's audience.
I said, because of this and this, I'm not doing this. Good luck.
God, please let this go back on appeal. So I can just send that clip. I will mail it to the court myself if I have to, on a thumb drive or a VHS or whatever they need to say, look, I just said, because of this and this, I'm not doing this. Yes, we know you said that.
Let's stay in touch for the future. It's in the text messages, and then he continues to ask me questions, and we'll find out exactly why he asked certain questions in those text messages, and I answered them the way I was supposed to answer them. And there's a reason why.
Supposed to answer them. Supposed to answer them? What? Supposed to answer them? What? Huh? What about when you told Slaytosh that some other people would be not going if Vic was going, and then Weidenhefty, Damon Mills, they sent the exact same email to Chris Slaytosh that Monica sent. What about that? How about that? Do we remember that, Ron? That Weidenhefty and Damon Mills and Monica all pulled out at roughly the same, either like 1 day or 2 days apart total, and they all used the exact same text of the email. I don't know. I feel like there might be tortious interference there. Like maybe there was a threat that they wouldn't go, that they would actually break their contract. And I almost feel like Chris Slaytosh, at least at Damon Mills, said, you realize you're under contract, right? And that you can't do that. And then Damon Mills said, yeah. And Chris Slaytosh asked him for connection to his legal representation. Do you remember that? I remember that. I mean, I have those emails. So
why none of it was actionable and got past where it was, because it is my right as somebody who is communicating something for me. And then you have his.
It wasn't for you. You were communicating for Monica. You were communicating for Monica, Ron. And you said she would be contacting other conventions. My God, man. Asbel Lahant 100 says, supposed to, as told to him by who? Almost like a conspiracy. Show the emails? Just a second. I mean, I'll show them. I was just looking at them the other day. So this will only take me a second to pull up. Go. Which one was it? This one? Oh, that's, hold on, that's I just gotta find the right one. Just a moment. Here we go. Bop. You can see. Hello, this is Chris Smith, convention agent, says, "Hello, Chris. I'm writing to inform you that as long as Vic Mignogna is attending KamehaCon, Damon will not. Please update your website and programs to reflect such. Thank you." Thanks, Chris. Just want to verify versus his contract. This is what he's wanting to do. Hello, Chris. Yes, we are wanting to cancel completely. Damon refuses to attend any convention in any capacity if Vic Mignogna will be there. Thank you. Can you please direct me to Damon Mills' legal representation? Then we've got Sarah Weidenhefty says, "Hello, Chris. I'm writing to inform you that I will no longer be attending KamehaCon so long as Vic Mignogna is. Please update your site and programs to reflect this. Thank you." And then we've got, where's the Monica one? Okay. Well, the Monica one isn't on the same thing. I've got it in Monica's Discovery. I can pull that up pretty quickly. Here's oh, Monica's is a little different. It's a little different. Here we go. Whoops. 1 second. Here's Monica's. "Hello, Chris. I have to cancel my appearance at KamehaCon this year. I appreciate your efforts to accommodate, and please know there are no hard feelings. Wishing you and the show the best." This was... What was... Get to page 1. Oh, hold on. Come on. God, the organization of this PDF is annoying. Back up. So these were March 22nd. March 22nd. And this one was also on March 22nd. Rial's was on March 23rd. So there you go. There you go. Notice she didn't include any of the other emails in regards to KamehaCon. She just included that one. I'm sure there were no emails, no responses or anything like that. I'm sure they complied with Discovery again, but there you go. There you go. Okay, back to this. Back to this.
His text messages. You have his public tweets. You got a bunch of stuff that he has in communications with others that says why he canceled it. You got a bunch of information.
Where? What are Slaytosh's public tweets about why he canceled Vic's appearance? We've got his text messages with you. Those aren't good.
On Slaytosh's decision. Now, would Vic maybe, if the contract have any issues, have something to go against Chris? Maybe. That's not my decision. But in the end, I didn't try to blackmail anyone. I wasn't rude. I didn't insult. Nothing.
Rude and insulting has nothing to do with tortious interference. In fact, God damn it, Ron. It's like the opposite. Oh, I wish I had those text messages handy. Not 100% sure where those are. If I have them really obviously. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have those. I don't know where those are off the top of my head, and I'm not going to go digging through them. But God, I wish I had those handy right now. I had them up with the emails. Oh, yeah, that's right. They're in that same thing. Thanks for pointing that out. Here we go. Let's take a reminder. I'm sure it's too late to sponsor the event, but I wanted to see if there's a possibility of having a vendor booth, sizable section, smiley face. Could we do a call or an online meeting? I would have my business partner on the call. Blah, blah, blah. This is Ron Toye if my number isn't saved in your phone. All good, man. We're actually just wrapping up our sponsor pushes. So you still have time. Plus, if you're wanting to set up something promotional, it would need to be done that format. Okay. So here we go. Sounds great. Let me talk with Andy. Sorry about missing the call. I had a client. Hey, wondering how the meeting went. So this is 11 days later. Was kind of waiting to send that over till you got to confirm. Let me know. Thanks. Remember how he's like, oh, you didn't respond to me for 11 days, so I was done. Sorry about that. It's been intense here. Also with the Vic thing, we might not be able to sponsor this year with him being a guest. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I will get everything lined up and keep you posted because we want to work with you either now or in the future. We just need to make sure we don't get caught up in a... Oh. Let's read the rest of that. Caught up in a mess when all this goes down with him. So are you saying the internet hearsay is causing you to withhold sponsorship? Just want to be clear. It's not just the internet. He assaulted 3 close friends of mine. And one additional person that's even closer, but I can't say much because there is an investigation going on. This will get ugly, so we are talking with our legal team to see if there could be any fallout if we are sponsoring an event. And by it all goes down, is there something I should know? They came forward. I can tell you now, based on our contracts, if he has people step forward and are charges, he will be dropped. So the fallout sponsoring an event with him in attendance. Of course, there wouldn't be any fallout sponsoring an event with him in attendance. There's absolutely no legal liability even possible in that way. Phone number? I don't care. Frankly. Don't call it. And by it all goes down, is there something I should know? They came forward. I can tell you now, based on our contracts, if he has people step forward and are charges, he'll be dropped. All I'd say is there's an active investigation going on, but just know 3 very close friends of mine and Monica came forward, and the last person... I'll let her speak for herself, but it's legit. Not trying to cause drama, but just wanted to let you know where we stand. Don't say anything, please, but one of those who are coming forward is Monica. She was uneasy. So we've got 3 very, very close friends. Yost, and Marky, apparently, right? She was uneasy being there with him, but wouldn't let the fans down, but her agents are contacting all cons they are booked at and letting them know she won't be there if he is. Another voice actor's girlfriend and the 2 twins who lived with me. So there you go. Cons have already started backing out, which shows. He doesn't know who's coming to the front with these issues. That's why I need you not to say anything because it can hurt Sony's investigation and a legal investigation. I'll get a list for you. Please do, from a legal standpoint, I can be sued without probable conduct or legal issues. Makes sense. I will. We have time before your con. It's coming quick, but this stuff will probably pop before. Notice this is all on like January 22nd. Most of the assaults happened at conventions. Is there a way Monica can speak with me off record? She gave me her number, but if she has concerns, I'd love to address them. Trust me, we won't be standing idle. Aside from that, I wouldn't let you stop from reaching our market or utilizing our reach. Once all that comes out, he will be removed without hesitation. On top of that, we are on a deadline to push promotion, so when you meet with your team, let them know that. Wait on her. I will ask her to reach out to you. She doesn't know I told you anything. Excellent, that helps. Smiley face. I will talk to Monica tonight and set up a call. I will let her know I talked with you about sponsoring the event and my concerns with Vic. She'll more than likely bring up the actual documented cases naturally. Just please don't let her know I told you without her permission. You guys are awesome, and this year is going to be amazing. Yeah, it sure sounds like Ron was pulling out of it. Remember when Ron said over and over that, well, after 11 days, I mean, I wasn't interested in it. This year's going to be amazing. Awesome event. All of these things. Not a problem, and thanks. The last thing we'd want is anyone feeling uncomfortable in an event we hold. That goes from talent to the attendees. I do very much appreciate you letting me know, and I'll be sure to have fresh ears during our conversation about the topic. Thanks, Ron. And then February 1st, so this is significantly later, another 8 days. Hey, so currently Vic is not attending. Can you have Monica call me if possible? I can call tomorrow. She's in Houston recording. You made the right call not having him out. Fuck me. Again, this is the evidence you want in a TI case. I can't stress that enough. And Chup can eat all the shit in the world. Based on what we've seen, we think so. Our decision was based on the potential of his past victims being VAs. We're also taking a ton of heat, so I just want to make sure those allegations you brought up to me, and again, are seriously being acted upon. I promise it's true, VAs and staff. I will see if Ian would feel comfortable telling you his story of someone extremely close to him getting assaulted by Vic. I don't doubt it at all, just makes it easier when the voices are louder, especially for these young women who are stepping up. People think this guy is a hero. You're kind of a cockbag, Slaytosh, I just gotta say it. Again, thank you for all your help with this and being open and sharing. It's certainly a big deal in my eyes you were willing to reach out. You're welcome. I know it's tough, but he is a predator. He can be really nice at times, but when he gets upset, he can be a terror. And the other obvious thing is the sexual harassment stuff. So there you go. That's just a reminder. It's just a reminder. If anybody wants to remember what the texts were, the ones that Ron Toye pretends didn't happen. Ron wants to pretend that, oh, Slaytosh had nothing to do with the sponsorship. I mean, Slaytosh is like begging for the sponsorship throughout that entire thing. Ron not sponsoring him after he did what he wanted, that's a cock move. That's really lame, but all right, back to this.
Let's focus on the first part of it. Because he didn't respond after 11 days, that was the motivating factor, in addition to...
Nope! You fucking liar! We just read it! We just read it! You liar! The 11 days was not at all mentioned as a motivating factor. In fact, it looked like you were still on board.
I'm not going to be there with a guy who assaulted my fiance. But let's be real, like, I don't have to.
He wasn't going to be there 11 days later.
And there was no numbers in it.
And Ron, one, Vic didn't assault that giant thing at all. And you know it. You know it because she never told you. That's how you know, Ron, that she worked with him for years without telling you. The other conclusion that you can draw from her not telling you, you can draw the conclusion that it didn't happen, or you can draw the worst conclusion that it did happen, but she doesn't trust you and has never trusted you and willingly went back to work with a man who assaulted her without telling you, her personal fiance, about it. I'm pretty sure that makes you a cuck. An info cuck, if nothing else.
Negotiated. That's my right to make a decision. Right?
No.
Would you see a client who assaulted your partner?
Yes.
Would I see a client who assaulted my partner?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would be a different situation.
Why?
Well, that's because if you look at it from the professional standpoint, is, you know,
would you give therapy to someone who assaulted your partner versus would you sponsor a table at an event where someone might have assaulted your partner? Those are vastly different events, and I still say if Ken wanted to, he probably could. However, he would have to disclose that potential conflict of interest with the person, and they would have to make the informed decision. Just like I would.
From, you know, an ethical standpoint, there would be concerns of whether or not I could fairly treat someone with a close relation. That's why you tend not to, you know, do therapy for family members.
Right.
And so...
Ron! Don't say right! That has nothing to do with sponsoring a table at a con!
Those are, you know, you can still sponsor an event. where someone's there and have no interaction with them, where I would have direct interaction with someone who who sexually assaulted my
It's not just the direct interaction that Ken would have. He'd be counseling this person therapeutic health through words. And if he counsels him in the wrong way, in theory, he could counsel him into a worse position. He has direct influence over this person.
It's my spouse. So,
Rio, yeah, ethics means you send them elsewhere politely. Yes, you should. However, the way, at least in lawyering, maybe not in therapy, but at least in lawyering, if I were presented with the same person, I would have to inform them of the conflict. And they could, if they wanted to, override the conflict. And if I wanted to. Like if for some reason I wanted to deal with that person, we could work out that conflict of interest as long as it was plain and apparent.
You're at a big convention with thousands of people. You can be on opposite ends of that convention hall and never see each other.
But
that does happen, whereas I'm having to have a direct interaction with someone, though.
But see, that is a situation where I would have the right to determine if I want my money going somewhere that's going to have a person that I have a complete disagreement with, in addition to the unprofessional nature and the way that I requested information and never got it. And
you didn't follow up with requesting the information, but you teased out the possibility of continuing to work with them.
So there's a accumulated factor into this, and it's why we won in that.
What's accumulated factor? Again, Ron, stop. Just talk like a normal person. Accumulated factor? Jesus Christ.
Factor is the appropriate application of the law. Just like you guys run cons, if you have somebody that you don't want out, or a vendor, they make a decision. You guys can do whatever you want to do, but that's part of business.
No, they can't. Not once the contract is signed. They can't just do whatever they want to do.
And there's people that decide not to sponsor events. Like, for instance, right now, there's a lot of people that don't want to do business with certain companies because their position on Black Lives Matter.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Are they going to get sued? Sponsorships getting pulled because their position on Black Lives Matter? No.
It depends on the contract, Ron.
It's a matter of public concern. That's where it keeps going back. This is a matter of public concern. I'm allowed to do what I want to do based on a matter of public concern. And
I was talking to someone today. I was talking to Vox Day today. I'll credit him. And he came up with a good analogy for tortious interference. And I thought this is appropriate. So I was talking to Vox Day, and here's his analogy for how he's come to explain tortious interference to people. Because a lot of people misunderstand TI. They think that to commit TI, you have to do something that you don't have a right to do. And that's not correct. Justification for tortious interference doesn't have something that you do that's a right. Justification means you have a privileged purpose to enter into the contractual relationship between two parties. In Texas, this is the justification defense. So one of the justification defenses is, I was going to hire someone, and I called their former employer, and I inquired about their work habits, and their employer told me truthfully about their work habits, and then I decided not to hire them. That is justified. Different scenario is, I'm going to hire X worker, and their former employer calls me to tell them, don't hire them because of work habits. That's not privilege. There's no justification there. That is someone reaching into a contract instead of being pulled into the contract. And those are very different things. And here is the Vox Day analogy that I thought was perfect. When you're driving your car, you have every right to pull out of your driveway onto a street, right? Like to turn onto a street and drive. You have every right to do so. But if you pull out right in front of a bus full of kids and the kids get hurt, well then, you're liable for the injury to the kids if you pulled out when you shouldn't have. Even though you have every right to do the thing, you have a responsibility to not do that thing when it causes someone else harm. Unless you've got justification. So it's a difference between a right and a justifiable privilege. And that's pretty important. Because you have a right to engage in business dealings with someone else. Absolutely. Of course. Of course you can decide to sponsor someone or not sponsor someone. However, even though you have the right to sponsor or not sponsor someone, when you add some sort of contingency that interferes with someone else's existing right that you know about, for example, Vic's appearance at KamehamehaCon, Ron and Monica would know that that was a contractual agreement. Also, in case they didn't, Chris Slatosh told them that there was a contractual agreement with Vic. With my contract, I have to have, cause or whatever, right? So Slatosh told them that. So they know there's a contract there. They have to. They were told by the contracting party. Plus, Monica would already know because Vic was announced in the same way she was, and that announcement follows the signing of the contract. That being said, now at this point, you cannot make your decision contingent upon the other person breaching the contract or even canceling the contract lawfully, because that is an undue influence on the contractual relationship of a third party that you are not privileged into. Ron reached out to Chris. Not only that, Ron follows up with Chris and brings up Vic before Chris does, if I remember right. We could check real quickly again. Let's pull this up. Go right back up to the beginning here. Because we have that 11-day break. Wondering how the meeting went. This is Chris. Wondering how the meeting went. Was kind of waiting to see that until I got a confirm. Let me know. Thanks. Right? Sorry about the missed call. I had a client who had an issue with their closing, and the realtor was blowing me up. I'm meeting with Andy at 5, and I will update you soon. My email is rtoya@fairwaymc.com. If you would like to email me the packages, will do. And then I was kind of waiting to send that over till you got a confirm. So Ron's like, 11 days, blah, blah, blah. Sorry about that. It's been intense here. So Ron even admits, sorry, I haven't confirmed, even though I was having a meeting with my business partner that I said I was going to have. It's been intense here. Also with the Vic thing, we might not be able to sponsor this year. Ron, again, he brings up Vic. Chris Slatosh doesn't ask him about Vic. He doesn't say, hey, what do you think about this Vic guy? He doesn't do that. Ron brings it up. That is a non-privileged communication. That is not justification. Anyway, back to this.
And that's what his lawyer should have known from the start, and why this was a frivolous lawsuit, and that he could have avoided so much loss of income, so much loss of money, so much less information being out there to the public if it would have just been no lawsuit filed.
If there would have been no lawsuit filed, Vic would not have gone to KamehamehaCon. I don't know if you saw Vic's lines, but Vic made a significant amount of money at KamehamehaCon. I think they may have even put it in their documentation that Vic made, 5 figures of income at KamehamehaCon. If Vic had not filed the lawsuit, Vic would not have gone to KamehamehaCon. I think the only convention he might have gone to would be Anime Matsuri, and that would only be if they didn't fold on Vic after his activity. I don't know what Matsuri would have done or would not have done without a lawsuit From what I understand, Matsuri stood by Vic right away and said, you're coming to the show. But I don't know if that would have changed. I don't know if their stance would have changed. I don't know if Vic would have changed his mind. I have no idea. But I know that in filing that lawsuit, he went to Kamehacon because of that lawsuit. I'm pretty sure there are several other conventions that he went to because of filing the lawsuit. I'm also pretty sure that his attendance at said conventions, his fans' attendance at said conventions, and his fans' attendance at the non-conventions, like the signing at the collectible shop in LA, the signing in New York City that he did near the Liberty City Comic Con, that those signings would have been less attended. The one down in, where was that? North Carolina or something like that, that he did at the martial arts studio that had Power Ranger signings and stuff like that. I am betting that those would have been less attended or even non-existent if he hadn't filed this lawsuit. Sound of One Hand Clapping says Vic testified he made $37,000 at Kamehacon. Yeah, and that's ignoring the other possibility that I still think Ron and Monica wanted Vic to kill himself. Absolutely. Also Jamie Markey. But specifically Monica. Because she knew Vic the best and longest out of all these people. I think that Monica knew the very real possibility that Vic would be in a position to do self-harm because of the loss of his career, the loss of access to his fans, a career that he takes very, very significant amounts of pride in building, developing, and cultivating. And that this was a devastating time for him. And I think Monica knew it. I would guess that Ron knew it too, except that Monica never tells Ron anything, so maybe he didn't. And I would suggest that Jamie Markey knew it too. And all of the other people behind the scenes who weren't named in the lawsuits, they knew what this would do to Vic. Of course they did. They go to conventions with him. They see how he interacts with fans. They get pissed off and angrily masturbate over the fact that they don't have the same fan interaction that he does. So yeah, that's an intangible thing. I have no idea.
Okay, well, we're going on quite a long one here, so I guess we'll kind of. How is everyone doing for time?
I'm at home. Monica's recording for some show, so I'm just chilling.
Okay,
Ken?
Monica's just somewhere else, like always.
Okay, well, if you
Monica's just not here, like she never is. Even when she's in her own, she has her own room in the house that's away from me or whatever.
if you guys are good.
I know Mr. Hop looks a little tired.
I can take a nap, but I'm usually like that. I can usually take a nap on anything, but I'm totally fine. Thank you very much for your concern, though.
All right.
I was worried about your eyelids falling down there.
Oh, God. Crumb, have I ever fallen asleep on one of our streams before?
I think you almost did.
Well, I'm very comfy where I am, but I am alert, and thank you very much, Ken, for...
You do look relaxed to how you...
Oh, I'm so relaxed.
Because I saw that last time. You just like sit there and lean over.
Ron Hop, I know how that's going, buddy.
Oh, God, it's so awesome.
For hours, man.
If anybody needs a bathroom break or anything else like that, I mean, just let me know.
Yeah. I think I'm holding strong for now.
All right. Okay. Well, Ken, did you have something else that you wanted to go on and talk about?
I would like to still circle back to being able to move forward from this. So
yeah,
we can talk to Nick. We determined that we're open to doing that. And like I said, I'll send him a message and we'll figure that one out. But
he did send me the message, and I said, no, I'm not talking to Ron. Not during the lawsuit.
To make an impact with the community, you're going to have to do a really grand gesture,
right?
And one of, coming from a place of sincerity, and you guys show a lot of.
Ken, the problem is Ron is allergic to sincerity. Whenever Ron gets close to sincerity, he adds 50,000 smiley-faced emojis. And then he goes on a spurgacious rant on Twitter and Kiwi Farms and YouTube comment sections. The man cannot be sincere, even for a moment, which is embarrassing because my entire show is full of levity, it's full of jokes, it's full of various times of hyperbole. But if I need to be sincere, I can just drop down and be sincere. It's pretty simple. In fact, it's really easy when you set up the converse of sincerity as like the idea of levity and entertainment and all these things to go, okay, now wait a minute. Now I need to talk about something serious for a second. And this is really important. So there's no jokes about this. This is the real thing. There's no smiley emojis here. We need to go and do this. Ron can't do it. He's impossibly incapable of doing that. Probably because he's a liar. He's incapable of sincerity because he lies, more than because he's incapable of getting to that emotional space, I think. But that's me.
Kind of caring in there. And that could come in a bunch of different ways. You know, Monica works in the industry. She has a lot of ties. You know, she could attempt to get him invited back to different places. You know, I don't know, or she could offer to work on have him come work on a project she's working on, or do something along that nature. But that would show that, look, we're repairing this bridge that we have here. We want to make things better. We're moving past this, and we're gonna, repair this chasm we've built in this community.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing about that is Monica, when you go to cons, I know a lot of people try to say this, she's in very high demand. When you go off a
Oh my God. Oh my. Get my smelling salts. I got a case of the vapors. Woo. Holy Jesus. Oh, Ron, when the number on the scale exceeds the number on the line, you're not in high demand. Oh, Jesus.
Twitter, she doesn't experience negative stuff.
She blocked literally everybody. She experiences negative stuff all the time. Her tweets actually complain about the negativity, and then she blocks the person. What the flip are you talking about? Why would you just go? Why? Why would you just go and lie to the people who are blocked for the negativity? The people in the chat know for a fact you're lying.
I've been there. I know how much she makes at cons. I know how many people she signs autographs for. And you talk to con owners in the industry, they'll tell you her reputation. She doesn't need to do anything to fix her reputation.
This is the idiot's fallacy. This is the idiot's fallacy. I'm coining this right now. It's not official, but I'm coining it right now. The idiot's fallacy is that things don't need to be repaired because things are good. Okay? Things don't need to be fixed because things are good. The problem with the idiot's fallacy, and why it's a fallacy, would be that things can be better. And good is relative. Okay? So good is relative. Things can be better. If Monica were to, imagine this. If Monica were to reach out to Vic, partner with him, and behind the scenes work on all of the problematic aspects of Vic and actually have done that. If she had done that, she would be exposing herself and ingratiating herself to Vic's very engaged, much larger convention community. It would be insane. So she would be tapping into a market that she actually didn't have. It would have been almost double slimy because she would have attempted to destroy him, failed, and then attempted to repair the bridge for self-gain. And she would have done really well with it. Really, really well. With Vic's diminished reputation, his lines at cons blow Monica's out the water harder than her blowhole does. It's unrealistically incomparable how much better his lines are at cons than hers. You've seen the photographic evidence of it. You've seen Vic's lines at cons and you've seen her lines at cons. Her lines are embarrassingly small. Vic's lines are, through a queue, out the door, down a hallway or whatever, hundreds of people long, waiting hours at a time, and her lines aren't. And that's fine. She can still, let's be clear on this, she can make good money with that engagement that she gets. But she could make better money by tapping into a secondary market that has currently cut her off. That's the idiot's fallacy. Things are good, therefore they cannot be better. And they don't need fixing. Stupid. Very stupid.
No, not her reputation, Vic's reputation is what I'm talking about.
Right, and that's fair.
You guys have this community that, there has been, and Monica said it herself, there has been an impact on the number of cons she's had last year versus this year. Before coronavirus came into play.
Oh, were you lying, Ron?
No, Monica didn't say that. Jamie said that she's.
I'm sorry, Jamie did that. I'm sorry, I mixed up. So
I'm pretty sure Monica did too, but maybe not. I think she said it on Twitter. I don't know if she said it in the lawsuit. I think she might have, though. The harassment campaign has caused diminished reputation, right, Ron?
No, she's been
okay, so even so, I would still assume that there's some impact. It's hurting everyone in some form. Regardless, it's still hurting her fan base, which is where she makes her money from.
Right.
Again, she doesn't have to like Vic. She doesn't have to be best friends with Vic. But extending that gesture out, and it doesn't admit any wrongdoing by saying, look, we would appreciate it, or we would like to extend an offer for Vic to come work on this project with us, or to come to this convention that is really special or relates to him, or something like that, that has significance to both, or to not just you and Monica, but to Vic and the community. Right. That would be such a huge repair that it would show a sense of genuineness too.
Right.
Again, you don't have to like Vic. You can still hate him for what he's done, but it would help remove a lot of this tension there. You would probably see a lot less of the dislike or hatred that you feel that's been coming at you.
And part of that, where I said it on the last show, and I know, some of it might be somewhat level of disagreement, but let's pretend, for the sake of this situation, that what happened 100% happened the way it did. Then
holy shit! Okay. I'm going to hit play again. And I apologize.
You're asking a lady to do X, Y, and Z for somebody who has brought something and tried to get $1 to $5 million out of her.
No, out of all of the defendants, including Funimation, the one with the deepest pockets. And it's actually suggested that Funimation is responsible for the tweets of Monica. You dumb dildo. In fact, Ron, if you and Monica and Jamie would have gone with even half a fucking brain, with even half a brain, you could have gone ahead and pinned this at the foot of Funimation's control over Monica's social media. You could have pinned the damage on Funimation for making the thing. In fact, you could have settled out with Vic. You could have settled out with Vic for probably $0 and left whatever settlement or judgment at the foot of Funimation without even implicating yourselves. Without even implicating yourselves, you could have settled that out. Without even going against Funimation in public or in private, you could have settled that out. But you chose not to do that. He didn't come after Monica for $1 million to $5 million. He came out against all of you for $1 to $5 million. Because he's definitely taken more than $1 million to $5 million in damages, based on the fact of his future employment prospects are much, much lower now that you guys have done your verbal raping of him.
While people have systematically tried to call her every name in the book,
Fat!
Tried to ruin her reputation,
Terrible!
all these things. Now, there's a lot of things that could help bridge that gap of what the additional injury to her has
She doesn't have a thigh gap to bridge, that's for fucking sure.
happened, that maybe could do it, because she did spell it out in her initial statement. And for me, I don't care what the industry thinks about me. I'm not in the industry.
Well,
You aren't in any industry.
let me just pause for 1 second here.
Yeah.
There's been on both sides. There's been things said. Vic has not said these things about Monica.
No, I have. Fat!
True.
So why is he?
Terrible!
In your opinion, why is he
Horse!
responsible to repay or give reparations for something that other people have said?
Because
Fat! Terrible! Horse!
he was the one who brought the lawsuit asking me and my fiance and others
Me and my fiance and others.
to give him $1 to $5 million for stuff
Could have probably gotten out of it for free if you could have gotten around the fat.
that for the stuff in the lawsuit that he did to them.
He didn't do it to him, and you know it. He couldn't even find it in all the fat.
And so that's the part that's a problem. Is he brought the lawsuit and asked for $1 to $5 million.
Well, and
Yes. That's what you do when you bring a lawsuit, you fucking rube.
you realize that is split up amongst the defendants. It's not just solely from you.
So $333,000 for each us on the low.
No, it's apportioned amongst the fault. You could certainly have argued that you guys were less at fault, and Funimation, being his actual employer, stating that they did an investigation where they found he was a sexual predator, was most at fault. And you could have argued easily that Funimation was vicariously liable for the tweets that Monica and Jamie Markey sent, except you're too fucking fat and terrible and hoarse to understand how to deal with it. The Texan83 says, Nick, how could they have laid all this on Funimation? They had just hired him for a director role, causing him to move from LA to Dallas. No, they hadn't. They hadn't hired him yet. And they'd been working on Funimation since 2018, but no one really knows that. Any information they have against Funny would have shown their own action most likely. Kalinka Pavlova says, Monica has layers upon layers of lipids to protect her from injury, Ron. Ugh.
low end, and what is that? 5 million, 200, almost $1.5 million for each person. So that to me is a bit of a sore spot because it's like, hey,
naming a number in a lawsuit is a statutory requirement of the lawsuit. You fucking dim-witted dildo. How don't you understand? You think you are out there like, I know all about defamation claims, and you don't even understand that Texas requires you to state a number, and though the number that you state actually matters for what particular court you're in, for the type of action you're in. Your lawyers are fucking experts in this according to you and them, and they didn't tell you, you the person who claims to know this. Of course they stated a number. They have to. They have to.
Here's a guy who made a big fucking mess.
You made a mess. You pissed all over the carpet. You're the shitty chihuahua.
Who wanted to get you to give him $300 to $1.5 million or so.
Did he? Did he want that, Ron? Or did he just want horse-face fucking fat-ass Monica to say, you know what, things got out of hand, and maybe some things got said that were a little bit of an exaggeration, and Vic and I are working this out, and he's actually a really genuine guy, and even if he's made mistakes in the past, you know what, they don't reflect on who he is now, and he has told me that he will work on who he is going forward, and I'm going to help him with that because he's my friend. He's my friend for 20 years. And in light of all of the stuff that's happened between us, we're still friends, and you guys should maybe support him too. That's probably would have gotten you out of this for free without all of the hate and damage you've suffered, you dumb piece of shit. Look at your stupid face. Look at you.
He admits to doing most of the shit, but now he thinks that now
he admits to doing none of the shit, you fucking disingenuous lying cockbag. Oh my God, you're the cleanup crew for all of the Tyrones, and it's disgusting. That's why your beard has gone white, because you can't wash the man juice out of it at this point. Jesus Christ, get over your gay narrative.
Got to partner together to fix stuff? No. You brought this mess on. You got to...
You brought it on! You did! You and Monica and Marky and Funimation and some other people brought it on. You guys did. And you know you did. You know you did. You had an alternative way to deal with this because you communicated privately because she was friends with him. And then you decided, no, I'm going to stick a knife in his urethra. Fuck you.
Start this off. If you want to apologize and say, everyone who said a negative thing about Monica, she has a stellar reputation. Correct the mistake. Fuck.
She has a stellar reputation of being someone who wanted to fucking murder her friend. Fuck you.
Apologizing for Nick. But clear up the...
Wait, what? Apologizing for Nick? Let's go back. I missed that in all the pausing.
Say, everyone who said a negative thing about Monica, she has a stellar reputation. Correct the mistake. Fuck apologizing for Nick.
You demanded he apologize for me. You pieces of shit demanded that. He never asked me to say anything about you. Ever. Ever. He could have. If he would have, I would have done it. Because fuck you. But he didn't. I wish he would have. I wish he would have given me all sorts of inside juicy info about you and your shit fiance. Fuck you people. He didn't. He didn't. He never asked anything. You know what he asked everybody? Be light. Be positive. You know, let's not have conflict. That's what Vic asked. Over and over and over again. And you pieces of shit didn't do it. None of you did. You incessantly tried to destroy him while he said, be nice to them. be nice. And he said that to everybody, publicly, all the time. That's what he said. If you remember, on my show on February 14th or whatever, I actually had a statement from Vic. It's the only statement he's ever made on this show at all. It was the panel I had with whatchamacallit, Anime Outsiders. I think we had Tug and we had Gator on. I think that was the panel. Either way, I believe it was February 14th. Had an official statement from Vic. The only thing Vic has ever asked me to say. You know what it was? Be positive. Be light. Let's not be negative. Everybody be nice to everybody. That's what Vic said. That's what he said. The only thing he's ever said on my show. He didn't say it. He asked me to say that to people. So fuck you. Eat all that horse shit that your wife leads on the road.
But clear up the misunderstanding about Monica. But I can't negotiate that shit. I don't care. It's like, that's on them. If Monica and Jamie and them, but that's a part of the situation is, if we want...
You can! You're in the lawsuit, you liar!
Healing, it starts with honesty. That's where I go.
Oh, it starts with honesty. Let's talk about what honesty means. 2 parties to this. Technically 4. Really 15.
That's a problem on all sides, though. That's not just one side or the other.
True.
Again,
that's why we end up going to court and then we end up getting money and no healing happens because people are afraid of honesty.
Who's afraid of honesty? Who's afraid of honesty? People. Notice what he said there. Pay attention. Pay very fucking close attention to this. This is the shit. This is the shit that reveals the true character behind the goblins. Ron can't speak for Vic. Guys, I'll be real with you. I have spent more personal time with Vic in my entire life than Ron has. In fact, at each individual convention from Matsuri, the first time I ever met him, going through HawaiiCon, so Matsuri, HawaiiCon, and what's the other one? Cressa Show, Kitchener Comic-Con. I don't think I've been to any other conventions with Vic there. No, wait, also at Bubba Fest. So those 4 conventions, at each one of those conventions, I spent more personal time with Vic than Ron Toye has in his entire life at each of them. Remember who Ron is. Ron is not qualified in any way to speak on behalf of Vic. And I just want this to be known for this particular point. Okay? In this particular point, Ron says people are afraid of the truth in lawsuits. You know who isn't afraid of the truth? As far as I can tell in all of my conversations with him, Vic is not afraid of the truth. And if you think he is, compare his deposition to Monica's and Ron's. When Vic tells the truth about things about himself, even unflattering things, Ron continues to lie about them. Ron says that Vic hired a prostitute while he was engaged to Michelle Specht, despite the fact that Vic specifically said, no, it would have been before that. Ron says Vic hired multiple prostitutes. Vic says, no, it was just the one time. Ron also says that hiring a prostitute is worse than beating your fucking wife. Ron Toye thinks hiring a person for a consensual sexual encounter is worse than beating your wife, something that Ron has done. So when Ron, my personal fucking remote Toye, says that people are afraid of the truth because of a lawsuit, he can only speak about himself and maybe his personal fat fucking fiance. Those are the only two people Ron Toye can possibly speak for in that statement. And Ron, we know you and your fiance are scared of the truth. We've been begging for the truth the entire time. Vic has never been scared of the truth. You're a piece of shit.
One thing I didn't get to mention it before was you said that this lawsuit wasn't an attempt to prove Vic's innocence, and I disagree with that. The direct cause of the lawsuit isn't to prove Vic innocent or guilty, but a consequence of his winning the lawsuit of the statements that you guys allegedly made that would have, lost him his job are based around him doing these allegedly inappropriate things. So his win from that would be a very strong scepter to say, look, I won this lawsuit of these people defaming me by saying these things.
Right.
That would be a win for him in that sense.
True.
That would be a victory.
True.
But this is where maybe in that sense it could have been a potential small victory if he could have proved that, right? But you're cutting off your nose to spite your face because you're suing a major studio. Who is going to want to get into business with somebody who's litigious like that?
Stop pretending Vic was ever going back to Funimation or any voice acting studio. Stop pretending he was going back. No matter what you and your horse-faced, fat, independent contractor that Funimation said they can deal with this themselves over. Remember that? Right? Because Funimation didn't pay your legal fees. Funimation gave you no advice. According to you, Funimation didn't help you at all. You think that you can hold dual positions, that Monica Rial, whom Funimation allegedly doesn't care about enough to deal with her lawsuit in any particular way, you think that they are going to take her word and hire Vic back, absent any lawsuit? You think that was going to happen? You think that Rooster Teeth, the soy-infused front holes at Rooster Teeth were going to bring Vic back? You think that was even close to a possibility? Then you're lying or stupid or both. The fact that Vic sued, the reality is that lawsuit was the only chance, and settlement of that lawsuit is the only chance. And anybody who tells you otherwise, all these dumb pontificating twats on Twitter talking about, oh, he shouldn't have sued his employer. There are four studios. 4 anime studios in the United States. What, right? Like there's Sentai, there's ADV, or is ADV still Sentai? I don't know. There's Rooster Teeth, there's Funimation, and there's what? One other that I can't even name. There are 4 people who hire Viz Media, thank you. There are 4 studios who hire the same fucking people. If there was any illusion at all that these companies were going to suddenly hire Vic again because Monica Rial said they should, then you lied about Monica's involvement with those companies. They can't both be true. We know, of course, that it's not true. None of them were going to hire him. back. He wasn't going back, except for the possibility that he settled out with Funimation for a retraction of their statement. That's it. That's the only way. If he had settled with Funimation and they had, in part of that settlement agreement, said, you know what? We're happy to work with Vic in the future if an appropriate role comes up. They don't even have to hire him ever again. That statement alone, that statement would have said, you know what? Vic is hireable. And there was no way on earth he was getting that statement without a lawsuit. Now, it didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way. But to pretend that somehow Funimation was going to go back on their decision to no longer work with a sexual predator, that was somehow going to just happen, you've got to be kidding me. The Rooster Teeth is just going to change their mind. All these companies, they're just going to, oh, well, you know, we virtue signaled really hard on not hiring this guy ever again. But you know what? Now that we think about it, we've changed our mind. Yeah, that was just going to happen. God, these fucking disingenuous pieces of shit. Hey, check this out. Look at this. What we have here. Lies. You publicly demanded him to pay Monica and threatened to ruin his credibility, which is extortion and is illegal. Will do. What will you think once that is out there? Will it ruin all or only some of Stan's credibility? Or could Stan save face by admitting he overestimated the con's turnout and promised to reimburse her for flights a few days after the con, but never did? Oh man, I wonder if he actually did though. Again, wouldn't that be embarrassing? And is this extortion? Threatening to ruin someone's credibility if they don't do what you ask? I mean, that's kind of the definition of it. And we are not in court. I'm not trying to sue him for breach of contract or failure to meet the terms of the contract. Just showing proof he owes her money. He knows it, but he likes to hide when called out. That's not proof, Ron. Because that email could have been immediately followed up by a check for $700. It would really, really be embarrassing if that's what happened. I don't know. That would be up to Stan. If Stan knows about that. I don't. Obviously, I didn't work for the con. I have no idea. Okay. Pseudo memes. Yes, there's a watch party tonight. It's Train to Busan. Sorry, I saw someone ask earlier. Train to Busan is the watch party tonight. Okay, here we go. Back to this.
It really depends on the studio and the project at hand, doesn't it?
None of them. Maybe if he was suing for like wrongful termination and didn't involve other people, maybe another studio would take a shot because, like, hey, shit, contract disputes happen. But when you're trying to sue a studio for defamation, tortious interference, vicarious liability, all this stuff over 2 tweets.
Ron is lying here. Oh, if he was just suing over wrongful termination, well, maybe. No. The premise is simple. If a studio wronged you and you sue them, no other studios are going to hire you, or they are. Like, either the studio who did this thing to you was wrong, or they aren't wrong. And the dumb thing is, Funimation's tweet, trust me, I don't know how else to say this. No corporate attorney of any credibility, if asked about Funimation's tweet about Vic, nobody would have said, yeah, tweet that out. No one. None. And guess what? I'm 99% sure Evan Stone didn't greenlight that tweet. Nobody would do that. No lawyer who's like, yeah, you know what? You should tweet that. None. It's absurd. If Funimation had settled, or if Vic ultimately prevails, will other studios hire him? That's actually possible. Funimation won't. But would other studios hire him? Maybe. Because they're really not worried about it, because most people aren't stupid enough to make that virtue signaling tweet. Oh, and by the way, just so we're clear, the guy who made that tweet, Scott Barretto, no longer works for Funimation. I wonder why Scott Barretto no longer works for Funimation. I fucking wonder. Head of their social media department. I wonder why he doesn't work there anymore. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because Funimation was brought into a legal dispute that was several times over his salary based on a tweet he made, possibly without authorization of counsel. Jesus Christ.
And you get absolutely laughed at. Like that, there was never a benefit to sue Funimation for what.
There's a lot of benefit to sue Funimation. You have no idea. You're not an attorney. You're an idiot.
He sued for, and that's the part where it's like this is going back to what was the gain? What was the rate of return off of this? What it looks like they were hoping for was a quick settlement, and that's
what everybody hopes for in a lawsuit. You.
Would have made sense if it was people who maybe lied or didn't believe steadfastly or didn't have a strong enough case. But when you have somebody that has everything they need, you don't show your cards until it's time, right? So
wrong!
You keep that stuff.
Wrong! God damn it. No, that's absolutely wrong. You show your cards at the opportune time, not when it's time. The opportune time in almost every case is immediately, as fast as possible, to prevent further costs and damage to your own reputation. If you fucking dummies have concrete evidence against Vic and not just a link to a YouTube video that everybody's already seen, if you actually have any real evidence against him and you released it immediately, no one would have been on his side. Nobody. But you don't. You don't have anything other than your stories, which no one believes.
Tight, because you're in a lawsuit that you are in jeopardy of losing $1 to $5 million.
And you could head off that lawsuit immediately by just putting out the counter evidence.
So you hold your shit tight to the chest.
True.
No,
but at the same time,
untrue, Ron.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Continue.
Untrue, Mr. Hop.
In that particular aspect, isn't that up to the actual lawyers to determine when to play their cards?
Correct, and that's why we've been so successful is we played them exactly the way it should have been. But we have to.
Why we've been so successful, Ron? You currently owe that legal team $180,000 that was deemed unnecessary. And you're currently awarded $100,000 of necessary legal fees. Your law firm charged you 3 times the amount for their strategy games than what was actually required. You're wrong. They're wrong. Even if you win the lawsuit, they were wrong on the timing. They were wrong on the strategy from a cost perspective.
Build the base from the beginning. And that's where they joked about having a 6-month head start. Well, they should have done a better job making sure they're prepared to even file it. Because in my opinion, if I'm not a lawyer, but if I'm going to go into a lawsuit, I'm going to look at every aspect that needs to be achieved in order to win. What's the probability What if
Shockingly, they did that. Shockingly, they looked at all of the avenues that were necessary to win, and they put together what they thought was a good enough case. Chup disagreed. Now, does that mean that they should have put together a better case? Maybe. If they could have tailored it specifically to what was on Chup's mind, that would have been an objectively better case, I guess. Was Chup ever going to give this case a go? Don't know. Is there a set of facts that Chup would have approved for TCPA? We don't know. We have no idea. There are criticisms that I could raise and have raised about the prosecution of this case. Absolutely. Absolutely. Would I have done it differently? Every lawyer on earth would do every case differently. That's why they're lawyers. That's what they're paid to do. So you can't even go off of that. No one knows what the judge will actually demand and if you can produce the thing. Now, here's the crazy thing. Is what Judge Chup wanted the legal requirement? Sure. Until you appeal it, and then maybe it is and maybe it isn't. But we have no idea if any amount of proof, like let's say all of the facts exist, because Ron has specifically said several times, well, you should have gotten better counsel and had a better strategy. Okay, let's just take you at your weird argument that you're admitting that there is a case out there, but Ty just didn't bring the case. Would even the perfect case have gotten past Chup? We have no idea. No idea how he would have ruled. Let's do this. Let's think about this. How about this possibility? Judge Chup, by the way, someone pointed out to me that the guy who was appointed to the position that Judge Chup wanted on, I think, September 9th, 2019, right before the hearing, the same week of the hearing, Judge Chup did. The guy who was appointed to the Court of Appeals is Wallach, who's on the panel for this hearing, for this appeal. The guy who was appointed instead of Chup is on the panel. But let's put ourselves in Chup's shoes. Chup says, Chup gets denied, right, on the appointment. Okay? Chup gets denied on the appointment. Chup's pissed off. And Chup now knows he has to run. He has to run against two other people. And one of them is a woman. Now, you've got a Me Too case in front of you. A hashtag, a pound Me Too case in front of you. And one of your major opponents for judgeship is a woman in 2019. Does that influence your decision? Don't know. Don't know if Chup thought that way or not. But if he did... Oh, and not to mention, there are news stories about your case. There are news stories currently in Dallas Morning News about your Pound Me Too case. And you are about to run against a woman in Dallas, well, in Tarrant County. And the Dallas Morning News is talking about your Pound Me Too case. Does that influence your decision as a judge? I don't know if it does. But is it far-fetched to think it might? No. It's not far-fetched at all. Now, here's the other thing. You know that if you deny this TCPA, or if you grant the TCPA motion to dismiss, you know they're going to appeal it. And then it's no longer on your shoulders how you dealt with this TCPA. It will not be reported prior to election, which he lost dramatically, by the way. None of that will impact your election. You just denied the Me Too. Yeah, just deny it. It's going to get appealed anyway. Chup even said, you may be back, right? Like, you may be back before you know it. Because he knew it was getting appealed. Now, is that why Chup denied it? I don't know. Is it a plausible possibility that there was no amount of evidence that could have been brought before Judge Chupp because he wasn't going to grant a Me Too case in his courtroom leading up to an election in 2019 or 2020 or whatever. Yeah. The election was in 2020. The primary, however, and Republican primaries are what matter in Tarrant County. Every single Tarrant County judge is Republican. I believe every Tarrant County appeals court judge is Republican as well. Is it going to matter? Maybe. Matter for that primary. In his mind, I don't know. Could you recuse yourself if you don't want to touch it? Not without good cause to recuse it. And the cause cannot be I have an election this year and a bitch is running. It can't be that. It doesn't work that way. All right. Here we go. So I just want to point that out. We have no idea if there's any set of facts. We can criticize all day the tactical errors of Ty. We can criticize the phone notary. Absolutely. And he should be criticized for that. He absolutely should. A notary should know you cannot notarize by phone. Do all notaries know this? No. Do all notaries abide by that rule? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do notaries notarize stuff for people over the phone all the time if they know that they're talking to the right person? Of course they do. Because it's easier. Did I, as a notary, do that? No, never. Never. Because my notary was tied to my employment at Wells Fargo. And all of my notarization tied to that employment at Wells Fargo was logged and tracked by superiors. Of course, I didn't do that. But do other notaries? I know a whole bunch who do. Of course they do. Should they? No. But do they? Yes. It's a practical matter. Your client calls you, they want something notarized? Yeah. Yeah, I know it's you. I'll notarize it, of course. Do notaries notarize things after the fact? All the time. All the time. It happens constantly, and no one cares. You know why? Because as long as the underlying statement came from the person, in reality, there's no harm. There's no actual harm in doing it. The harm in notarizing something remotely is the fact that you don't know, it would be that you don't know the person on the other end of the phone actually wants the thing they're asking for. The harm of notarizing would be that you notarize something that was requested by someone else. But notaries do it all the time, and they shouldn't. And they shouldn't. Oh, I never fixed the title. Let me make that part 7. Anyway. But can Ty be criticized for that? Yes. Should Ty be criticized for that? Yes, he should. Would it have mattered? I think Judge Chupp told us it wouldn't have mattered, right? He said, I've already read the affidavits. I'm going to consider them. Then, in his opinion, he chose not to consider them. Did he strike them for being faulty? No, he chose not to. Why? Because if Judge Chupp, think about this, if Judge Chupp had considered the affidavits, there is no way on earth he comes to the ruling that he did. It was easier for him to not consider the affidavits and to kick it to the appeals court for a decision than it was for him to consider the affidavits and justify denying everything. Anyway, pretending like the judges know all and do all correct all the time is ridiculous. Let's get back to it.
What they're saying is true. What happens there? What's the cost if he can't prove it? Is the return on investment of the...
What's the cost if he can't prove it? I don't know. Return on investment? What investment has Vic documented made into this? What is a documented investment? Let's remind people we have a GoFundMe for Vic Mignogna. Here it is. We're at $282,955. Guys, let's make it $283,000 tonight. That's $45 to go. Rusty Shackelford has donated. Brian R. has donated. Anonymous. Those are me. Anonymous. Those are all me. But if we can get at least the $45 to bring it to $283,000, that would be fantastic. But let's remind people that VIX fans came out in droves to support Vic so that his investment would be minimized as much as possible. VIX fans showed up to say, look, you were treated unjustly. We, as a group, can mitigate the impact to you to go ahead and try and find justice. What is VIX cost? His return on investment? I don't think, like, let's be real. Let's talk about the reality and the truth of the history of this suit. VIX investment in this has been so low that at one of my worst moments, I roundly and publicly criticized Vic. You guys remember this, of course. I criticized Vic on a YouTube stream, and then I followed up criticizing him on a Twitch stream a little bit before Christmas or around Christmas of last year. I did that. It's one of the few things I regret doing, not because I regret the truth of the message, but I regret causing strife for Vic, who's my friend. That's what I regret, is that I caused strife and I spoke poorly about my friend in public, and that was a bad moment for me. In regards to this lawsuit, I put that as my lowest point, where I was acting in a selfish, self-righteous manner, and I harmed with words a friend of mine. And I thought that was a little bit low for me to do it. He wasn't there to respond to it, and that was beneath me. And that was really a low blow. So that being said, though, my criticism of Vic when I did that was that I felt personally that he wasn't investing personally in this enough. Not monetarily, socially. I wanted him to engage his fans and to say, this is wrong. These people did this to me. They're lying about me. They're harming me. And this is not just. I wanted him to do that, to come out swinging. And I will say that after that, a little bit, is when he had a couple unlocked streams where he called people a little more specifically, said they're lying about me. This is not true. These are not reality. He did do that to some extent. I wanted more personal and social investment from Vic on behalf of people like me, like Hero Hey, like Yellow Flash, like Tug, that have stood by him and stood up for him on social media. I wanted him to validate that. And again, that was selfish of me, and I should not have put him in that position. But I'm using this to illustrate the point that Vic's investment in this has been monumentally low. What's his return on investment? At this point, he may owe a couple $100,000 in fees to the other parties. Fees that they will have to try and collect from a self-employed individual in a state which does not favor collection from individuals at all. His investment in this? Really, really low. What's his return on investment of this? He went to Kamehacon, he made 37 grand. He went to Anime Matsuri, he made 5 figures there. He went to Bubba Fest, I'm pretty sure he made 5 figures at Bubba Fest. He's been to all sorts of smaller signings where he has made several thousand to even multiple tens of thousands of dollars doing them. What's his return on investment so far? Pretty fucking good. Pretty fucking good.
wrong? Or is the juice worth the squeeze?
I would say yes. And I will say to this day, for Vic, was the juice worth the squeeze in filing this lawsuit? Even if Vic loses everything right now, loses, like the appeals court issues a ruling on September 22nd, and they say, right now, Vic loses everything. Was the juice worth the squeeze? Absolutely. I say yes. I say 100% yes. Because even if he loses, his fans say he was treated unjustly. That's me. I could be wrong. You guys could have an absolutely different opinion. Do I think it was worth the squeeze for him to do it? Yes.
What would have been the most beneficial? Say if he won the whole entire thing, what would he have won?
What would he have won if he won the whole entire thing? Fucking everything. First of all, he would have gotten an award of $1 to $5 million. He would have shown that every one of you is a lying piece of fucking flaming garbage. And then he could have moved on with his life, vindicated for the fact that you fucks ruined his life over bullshit high school drama because you're babies who had to lie about someone because you couldn't outperform him because you people are fucking gross. What would he have won? Everything.
I'll argue even him losing everything. You guys winning on everything on appeal.
Right.
Where he was before the lawsuit versus where he is now is a significant change for him. He has
Thank you, Ken. Thank you.
Multiple places of work now for conventions. He's got other places of employment. And where he was before the lawsuit, every single convention, I think minus one.
Shut the fuck up, Ron! Let Ken finish!
One dropped him. So the lawsuit, if anything, gave him a path back to employment, even if he's out the money from you guys.
But that goes back to the point of why the lawsuit was frivolous. If he's still...
No, it doesn't! He literally just said the opposite. If he... How are you this brain dead? God damn it.
Still getting booked and he's still getting conventions, then there was no...
He wasn't getting booked. Ron, Ken just said after the lawsuit, he got booked.
Damage to his reputation.
Well, we don't know that,
after the
though.
lawsuit, though.
Right, but that's my point. If you don't know that and he can't prove that and he's still getting booked and show...
He doesn't need to prove it. And by the way, you can fucking prove it. Chrysidia, who's sitting on the goddamn call with you on this fucking call, you dumb sack of shit, said we would not have booked Vic if the lawsuit didn't happen. You dumb pile of trash. It was said on the goddamn interview you're on. Tangibly speaking, he's in a better position from the people you're on the fucking phone with than he was before. You dumb sack of garbage.
Showing signs and photos of all of his line, it makes it... It's like going to a... It's like a...
The signs and photos of his lines happened after the lawsuit. It's possible, by the way. I don't know this. I can't prove this, and I certainly won't take any credit for it. It's possible that his lines after the lawsuit are bigger than they were before the lawsuit. And I don't know, but I've spoken to several people, probably in the 3 figures, just that have actually reached out to me and said, I didn't know who Vic was prior to this lawsuit. I wasn't an anime fan. Or even if they were an anime fan, they didn't care about voice actors. Or they watched subs over dubs because dubs are trash. Who said, I don't know anything about Vic, but because of this lawsuit, I am now a fan. And that's just people who talked to me not people who have felt the same but haven't talked to me. And I would put that number in the 3 figures. Fuck you. That means there's probably 4 to 5 figures of people. Just based on how engagement on social media actually works. Plus, there are people who've seen Yellow Flash's coverage, Hero Hayes' coverage, that Umbrella Guy's coverage, EVS's coverage. There are people who've seen Bleeding Fool's coverage. There are people who've seen Bounding into Comics' coverage. Who thought, oh, damn, this guy's fighting back. This guy's fighting back. There are people who watched me on Drunken Peasants or Geeks and Gamers. There are people on the periphery who've said, shit, this guy fought back against me too. I'm going to look into this. And there's a lot more than actually communicate on social media. And I would say I would put the number who have communicated to me directly in the hundreds, which means you can assume at best, a 10% representation of active communication on social media. Like, no joke, go look at YouTube videos and their likes and all that stuff. And ultimately you will find about 10 to 15% of people is a good ratio of likes per views. That's a good ratio. And the ratio on commentary, on comments, is typically even lower than that. So the influence versus the impact to people who will actually communicate about it, those numbers are trendable and measurable on social media. If hundreds of people have talked to me, it is safe to say that thousands of people support Vic now who wouldn't have before, just because he filed the lawsuit. And it may even be safe to say that tens of thousands of people have done that. It's an immeasurable number, but it bears out in every line, at every signing, at every con. Fuck you, Ron. You know, look, I'm not a marketing expert. I am not a social media expert. I'm just a guy who does this for a living. And I put my dick all the way down the gay throat of Ron Toye on these numbers. Fuck you. I know way more about this than you do, because I do this for a living every single fucking day for the past 3 years now. For 3 years. And I can tell you with confidence that Vic has more fans today than he had before filing the lawsuit. And I can tell you that there is a measurable amount that are positives from that lawsuit. And the amount of negatives from that lawsuit are negligible to 0. So fuck off. You know nothing about this, Ron. You're some gay boomer sitting there like, I'll sponsor a chair at a con. Like anybody going to a Dragon Ball convention was gonna go to you for a fucking mortgage, you dumb pile of shit. That's your view of marketing. You are going to spend, think about this, Ron. You were planning on spending $25,000 on sponsoring a mortgage booth at an anime convention like an absolute moron with mental disabilities that are nameable. When Vic spent $0 on the lawsuit, $0 on a social media campaign just waged by people who think he was unjustly accused, and he got thousands to tens of thousands of new people to follow him, and you got nothing. And if you had spent $25,000, would have gotten nothing. $25,000 in mortgage fees would have been something like 8 to 10 mortgages. Think about that. 8 to 10 weebs would have had to not only get mortgages following Kamehacon, but would have had to go, oh, you know what? I want to go to Ron Toye's group to get my mortgage. 8 to 10. That's a shitload of mortgages. This is not a minor product. It's not flowers, right? Like a a florist, a cosplay seamstress, something like that, they could easily make an ROI on that. Mortgages, you're talking about an industry that requires a significant amount of trust and a whole lot of financial data, and you're not thinking about it at all at an anime convention. God, these fucking cunts. Ah! Sorry.
A kid coming to you and like with a toy car, like, okay, you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Well,
You don't know what the hell you're doing. You are going to spend $25,000 of your company's money on a booth at an anime convention. You should be fired for that alone, you idiot.
I can say this, though, and I've said this before. It was much easier for me as someone who runs a convention to
Thank you, Cress.
go back over the year of litigation and the year of evidence and discovery and whatever else was brought up, this, that, and the other thing. It was way easier for me to look at that and point to that as to reasons why I can stand behind having Vic at a convention, rather than if none of that had happened and only the IO9 article and etc. had been published and that was the end of the story. There would be no...
Right. Thank you for, in brackets, thank you for reaming out the asshole of my narrative with the giant strap-on that you just used.
Reason. There would be no way that I could justify having him at our convention at that point.
And that makes sense. And that's part of
And that makes sense. Thanks for destroying everything I said by just going ahead and verifying it. Fucking idiot. By the way, I have to address this. Albert Wesker's Star SRPD says, Rekieta Law, for 3 years you've been grifting and shilling a bunch of bullshit for super chats. PPP1 and his god. Suck it, Nikki. Yeah, that's right. Remember, I grift and shill for super chats. That's literally how I make my money. Don't forget it. That's it. Okay, I just wanted to address that. Thank you.
Part of the process. It's the gamble, right? But what you're going to see, we'll see how history...
It's a gamble. Ron, you just admitted that he bet right. He bet correct.
Plays out. But if you're looking at it in a long game, right, you might have had the opportunity to get a couple of cons here and there. But if you're more interested in the long term...
You can't comment on the long term. It hasn't happened yet. And you have a demonstrable inability to understand what's going on day to day, much less into the future.
What's the best for the person? What's the best for the brand, his legacy? Those types of things.
Well, basically, in that aspect, I think it's totally up to Vic what he wants to pursue and what he doesn't want to pursue.
Yeah.
And also on top of that, if his lawyers are leading down the wrong path, again, that's up to Vic to tell them what they want to do and what they don't want to do. So,
and that's why it's like I don't have any hard feelings to Vic.
You fucking liar! Oh my god! You fucking cunt! Shit, bitch! Cum face! YouTube, I have Tourette's, and that was an outbreak. I'm diagnosed. Just ask me if you have any problems with what I just said. Just ask me, and I will happily provide my doctor's diagnosis of Tourette's. Fuck, ass, shit! I will do that right away. Just so you know. Fuck, shit! Ass, fucking cunt! God damn it. He has no hard feelings towards Vic. He has no hard feelings towards Vic. This entire stream has been him shoving his own tiny micro penis into his micro anus about Vic. The entire stream has been him whinging and wailing about Vic. No, I have no hard feelings towards Vic. Yes, you do. It's plainly apparent. Why are you lying about it? By the way, I'm on Ron's side here. I'm on Ron's side here. Ron, you should absolutely have hard feelings towards Vic. From your perspective, from Ron's perspective, Vic has sexually assaulted his fiance, assaulted multiple of his friends, and then sued him when he tried to tell the world about it. No hard feelings towards Vic. What kind of sociopathic monster are you? Of course you should have hard feelings towards Vic. Anybody on Earth would have hard feelings towards Vic if he did that to them. And they were justified. And they were right. This is why no one believes you. Of course, even because either you're lying about the underlying case, which we all know is true, or you're lying about not having hard feelings towards Vic, which doesn't make sense, or both, which is likely the answer. And you're trying to do it to gargle the balls of the audience? Like you're trying to cuck to the audience and be like, well, I don't have any hard feelings towards Vic. Please support Monica. We need it to help out with our mortgage. Kalinka Pavlova says, Nick, that's a whole week of me not swearing, and now I'm also giving you money, lol. Thank you. Thank you, Kalinka, and I apologize for your vocabulary being impacted on this.
He did what he thought he had to do. My problem is with the people that represented him, and
the people who represented Vic is Ty and Beard Harris, and then eventually Martinez Sue. You have a problem with them? I don't represent Vic. I never have. Only in your dumb homoerotic fantasy have I represented Vic ever. And I've said over and over and over and over again that I don't represent Vic. And Vic's words are not my words, and he probably doesn't like what I say, but he probably, and as far as I know, doesn't watch my show. He doesn't watch my show. He can't endorse what I say, and if he did, here's what would probably happen. Vic would probably say, hey, the things you say on your show are a little inflammatory and kind of mean and full of profanity, and that doesn't really fit my image, and I would appreciate it if you don't do that. And here's what I would say. Sorry, Vic, you don't control my show. You have no influence, zero impact over my show. I don't represent you. You don't pay me. And I like you. You're my buddy. But I'm going to say what I feel, not what you want me to say. That's how that would go down. It's pretty simple. And by the way, if Ty asked me to say something specific, other than like me saying, Ty asked me to say blah, 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 like an official statement, if Ty was like, hey, you should cover this way, I'd say, Ty, you don't control my show. Only I do. Because and to be very clear, my show isn't about Vic. My show existed before Vic, outside of Vic, and will continue to exist outside of Vic. Anyway.
Coming, like shooting a blank, not like having some kind of like...
Shooting blanks is what you do, Ron. Ever since Ronnie Jr. Or maybe Monica just doesn't let you in.
Like a situation where you're like, I don't feel fulfilled from this thing because I didn't get a fair fight because I got...
The only person not feeling fulfilled is Monica, and you know it.
This clown, and he's taking advantage. I am one of the biggest advocates that I think Vic should go after the people that represented him, because
you're not an advocate of that. You're not an advocate of that at all. You want Vic to hand over, to assign the right to you, according to your dumb fucking lungless attorney who went on YouTube or who went on Twitter and actually said your strategy, you stupid dildo. Oh, please come after me. God damn it. I couldn't pay for that kind of stupid publicity. I couldn't do enough Facebook promoted content for that. Please sue me, you fucking cunt. I will gladly bend your gay ass over in court and ream the shit out of it while Lemoyne masturbates in the corner impotently. I will beat the fucking brakes off of you in court. Come after me. I dare you to do it. Nothing could be funnier in my life. Fuck you. Lemoyne went on Twitter. It was like, I gotta get Vic to assign the rights to my clients to sue that grifter lawyer in Minnesota. Try it. Try it. You're the fucking biggest advocate because you think you're going to get the rights and therefore you'd get the payout. Good luck. I will waste your entire life savings. I will burn your shit to the ground. I'll come take your goddamn house. Fuck you.
They didn't do it right. They didn't give him the justification in the process. I have the opinion he would have ended here. But
so here's a question for you, because you have your opinion on how they did it.
Yeah.
And you said it's the wrong way. If in some bizarro universe you were an attorney or you had some degree of
it'd have to be a bizarro universe because Ron would have to have some level of education above 8th grade.
Knowledge and law. How do you think that Vic should have approached it?
Sorry.
From a lawsuit, like from the point of saying he has to file a lawsuit. Yeah. We're not going to say go to therapy and stuff like that. We're going to toss that out the window. We're say we're beyond that point. He's filing a lawsuit. How do you think he should have filed a lawsuit?
So that's a great question. So let's go back to the.
God damn it! He talks like a fucking woman therapist.
Genesis. Now, if say this is a hypothetical world because I'm not an attorney. I have a client come to my office and they are freaking out because of a similar situation. What I would do is I would go in immediately, start asking some qualification questions. Okay, so this bothers you. Has anything like this ever been mentioned about you in the past? Yes or no? Oh, okay.
No! Monica's story, Jamie Markey's story have never ever been mentioned in the past. The Yost twins, the lying cuntbag Yost twins have never been mentioned in the past. Sarah Breckmeyer, who Monica lied on behalf of and has never spoken publicly about the lawsuit, has never been mentioned in the past. Next question.
Okay, this situation, you have been accused of some stuff that's a little sketchy.
No, he's never been accused of anything sketchy. Ever.
Not asking if it happened or didn't. Has anyone ever said this about you in the past? Yes.
No! Literally no!
Okay, good. Continuing down my checklist. Have you ever talked about this? Yes.
No! He hasn't. He said, some people are going to call me creepy because I do the Tamaki line, but that's ridiculous. That's not the same thing as sexually assaulting a woman in a hotel room, you fuck!
Okay. Have you ever done anything that maybe could be interpreted? Okay. And
no! It can't. God! It can't be interpreted that way unless you're retarded, Ron!
Continuing down my checklist. What do you do for a living? How do you make your money? Oh, you get paid by autographs and events. I'm going.
Oh, and all of them canceled you! All of them canceled you! Literally fucking all of them! God damn it. I just knocked over my drink. I don't have... I'm just sitting here hammering on my damn desk. Ah! All of them canceled you. Just all of them, though. Look at this moron. He would be the worst fucking lawyer on the planet.
Through all of these series of questions, I'm not making my mind up. I get all of them done to where I'm...
Hold on, I have to do something degenerate. I'm drinking the drink off my desk. Oh no! God damn it. I just hit the wrong... I clicked the wrong spot. It's somewhere around here. Hold on.
At least the warning saying, hey, look, this is what it's going to take to win. Give them and overcome it. To stack up So both defamation suit and here to filing. What are we suing for? How do you make your money? Oh, you get paid by autographs and events. I'm going through all of these series of questions. I'm not making my mind up. I get all of them done.
You've already made your mind up, you fucking cunt. That's why you wouldn't be a good attorney. You have determined, based on your line of questioning, exactly the outcome you want.
Where I'm finding out who this person is, their history in the industry, blah, blah, blah. Then I go to the metrics. What are we filing? What are we suing for? Defamation? Okay, great. Defamation. Here's the elements of defamation. Here is what is required to...
Let me quote fucking Lipsky. Let me quote Lipsky. Hold on, here we go. Let me quote Lipsky. This is a leading defamation case in Texas, and it is, by the way, one that is frequently cited by Law Twitter. So I'm being even-handed here. In a defamation case that implicates the TCPA, pleadings and evidence that establishes the facts of when, where, and what was said, the defamatory nature of the statements, and how they damage the plaintiff should be sufficient to resist a TCPA motion to dismiss. Do we have when, where, what was said, defamatory nature of the statements, and how they damage the plaintiff? Do we have those? Of course we do. Of fucking course we do.
To overcome a, to win in a defamation suit. And here's what they're going to need to win a defamation suit. So both sides.
That's it. That's all they need. When, where, what, how, and damages. They've produced all of that. All of that has been actually produced in this lawsuit. Even if you disregard the Second Amendment petition, even if you disregard the affidavits, even if you account for all of Ty's fuck-ups, whatever they are, whatever you think they are, even if you take all of Ty's issues out of this, when was said, what was said, where it was said, how it damaged Vic, and what the damages were, how it's defamatory, and what the damages were, that has all been stated over and over and over in this case. And to say anything else is absolutely a fucking lie. It is absolutely a lie. You can hate Ty, you can hate Beard Harris, you can hate the work they did, you can do whatever you want. I don't give a shit. They stated when it was said, what was said, where it was said, how it damaged Vic, and what the damages were. They've said all of those things, all of them, over and over and over again. In the original petition, in the First Amendment petition, at depositions, in their motion arguments, in their affidavits, all of it has been said. So to say anything else is dishonest and bullshit. Again, we can, and I am fine with you criticizing Ty over lateness, which was ruled by the court to be inconsequential because literally 15 minutes late, the court doesn't care. They don't care. And in fact, they don't care until you're about a week to 2 weeks out. They really don't. And I can't express this because it's not in the rules, but the courts deal with people who are weeks or months late on shit all the time. And they just don't care about 15, 20, 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. Because it wasn't during business hours anyway. They don't care. So that being said, on the lateness, they don't care. On the, you could say they fucked up on the notary, fine. I said they fucked up on the notary. You could say they fucked up on the motion response, fine. You could say they fucked up on the Second Amendment petition, fine. even in light of all of that, everything required for a defamation case has been stated, according to Lipsky. All of it. And you can't say otherwise without, frankly, just lying about it. I've got, this is, the liquor didn't spill, by the way. This is my other drink. It's on everything. It's a disaster. Anyway, let's go.
Do I have enough information to stack up to where if they present any information that I can overcome it? If that answer is no, I don't risk.
God damn it! You don't, at the TCPA stage, you don't get to controvert the evidence. There is no overcome. It doesn't exist at TCPA because all factual disputes at TCPA are supposed to be, Chup didn't do this, but they are supposed to be resolved in favor of the fucking plaintiff. Chup didn't do it. It's the one thing Law Twitter really, really wants to ignore. None of your opposition to Vic's narrative matters at TCPA.
My client's money. I give them at least the warning saying, hey, look, this.
Do you think that didn't happen, you fucking marmot? Imagine the presumptuousness of this cunt. Well, I would do this as a lawyer. Do you think lawyers don't do that? Do you think lawyers are actually talking to clients and going, you know what? You're definitely going to win. You're going to win. You're going to win. You're going to win. You're going to win. Do you think lawyers do that? Of course he does, because he's not a lawyer.
This is what it's going to take to win. This is your current history, whether you did or didn't do them. But here's your history. This is where the biggest threats are to your lawsuit. You are potentially a public figure. You make your money by getting autographs at public events. So in order to do this, we're going to...
Making your money by getting autographs does not make you a public figure, you fuck!
We're going to have to overcome the burden of malice. And malice is X, Y, and Z. And it's not that...
What is it, Ron? Do you know? Do you have any idea what malice is? Do you have any idea if you actually have to show it at TCPA or what it would take to show it at TCPA? Do you have any idea at all what it would take to show it at TCPA? Because I can tell you, reckless disregard might include a retarded idiot saying, I believe everything that's ever spoken on the internet about a person so long as it's negative. That might be reckless disregard for the truth. Proof of the falsehood under Vanderlinden versus Kahn might be the fact that they were the only other person there. And that the only other person there would know the falsehood. So if you show it to be false, if the plaintiff were to say it's false, and by the way, in a factual dispute, the plaintiff's facts win at TCPA. If the plaintiff were to say it's false, and the defendant, who's the only other person there, says it's true, that the defendant loses on that, and that's proof of actual malice under Vanderlinden versus Kahn. I mean, only one of the fucking cases that's most often cited in this lawsuit. Or maybe you can show actual malice by saying, I hope he dies. I want his head. I want his balls. I want him to hurt. I want him to suffer. Maybe that malice can show a rational inference of the willingness to lie, especially when you couple it with statements that we know no charges are coming. We know no one can do anything against this guy, but we're hoping to do it. Maybe, just maybe, that was a conversation. I don't actually know. Maybe Ty didn't talk about it at all. Maybe Ty has no idea what actual malice is. But to just decide that the lawyer and the client never had a conversation, which would be privileged, about these elements, to suggest that is nonsensical. And it shows how stupid you are. Natalie Braithwaite says, rip Table Coon. Table Coon is doing okay. I've got a target right here.
Somebody was mean. It's that somebody knew what they were saying was a lie and had total disregard for what that statement was going to do.
I believe everything I read on the internet as long as it's negative about Vic, including from a forum called Pretty Ugly Little Liars. And I masturbate to that forum furiously.
And then go down the potential rate of return. So, okay, we win. What's the amount of money we win? What
millions of dollars. Literally fucking millions of dollars.
What did we lose? You just sued one of the biggest studios, because Sony
wasn't gonna hire Vic back, you fuck.
And Funimation
said publicly that they will never work with Vic again. Never work with him again. Publicly. Think they're just gonna go back on that? You dumb piece of shit.
You are no longer ever going to work for them again. And most studios are going to see you as litigious. So you might not.
No studios. Let me put this out there. Let me be honest about this for just a second. No studios are going to see Vic as litigious for filing one lawsuit in his entire life. Especially if he wins. Especially if he wins.
Not work for any of those studios again. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But let's just say they're going to see you as litigious. So they're not going to want to talk.
He's, again, making shit up. Who's going to see him as litigious? Rooster Teeth? They already fired him. They're never going to work with him again. So did Funimation. Sentai and Viz? We've no idea. They've never made a statement one way or another.
Talk to you. We're going to go through depositions and stuff so stuff can come out. That could hurt your reputation even more. So now maybe the cons that...
No, it won't. You know why it won't hurt his reputation? Because the stuff... Like, think about Ron's dual positions here and how stupid he has to be about this. Think about how stupid Ron has to be to hold this. Ron says Vic's reputation has been known forever. Ron simultaneously says when the things come out about Vic's reputation, he's going to be hurt by this. Ron, it can't possibly be both. It can't possibly be both. It was either already known and they didn't care, or it's false. One of the two. It can't possibly be already out there and they didn't care, or already out there and suddenly getting more trash. It can't be those things.
I would want you to come, might not want you to come. That's how I would approach it. And now, if the client still wants to go,
let's get real. Let's talk about how lawyers really approach cases. Let's be as fucking honest as possible. Okay. All right. Here's my retainer. Can you pay it? Because you can tell Ron's not a lawyer. This is the reality. If you can pay the retainer, I will make the best argument possible for your case. What a fucking dummy. What a fucking dummy.
Then that's on the client's decision to keep going forward.
That's on the client's decision. Can you pay the retainer? I'm going to need this many hours. I'm going to need this much payment up front. I have to clear this schedule. Can you cover that? We need to move on your case in X amount of days. Can you cover that? I'm going to make the argument. I'm your advocate. I'm not here to tell you whether you're right or wrong. I'm going to advocate for you anyway. This is what lawyers do. And ignoring this is bullshit. And everyone who ignores this, by the way, all of the little fucking fairies on Twitter, like whinging about this case, are lying or have no clients. Because sometimes you take a client, you say, man, I don't know if your case is good, but if you pay me, I'm going to make the best argument I can out of it. Or you say, you know what? Like, I'm not the right guy to make the argument, but here's the right guy to make the argument. These people have no idea. And of course you can tell because they're spearheaded by T. Greg Bankrupt Attorney or Mike Dunford, I fucking don't litigate ever attorney. I'm an academic attorney, which, by the way, academic attorneys should be abolished. They should be abolished, and you won't ever catch me retracting that statement. Fuck academic attorneys. If you're going to go to an institution and demand hundreds of thousands of dollars to teach new and up-and-coming attorneys how to litigate, and you don't litigate, fuck you. Kill yourself in Minecraft twice.
But maybe that happened, maybe it didn't. But looking at the testimony in the deposition, it doesn't look like he was informed very much of the process and what was at risk if he did lose.
You have literally no idea.
Because that's why that's why in the courtroom they asked, do you feel like your case was hijacked?
No, they always ask. Every court case I've ever been in, criminal or civil, the judge asks, because you have a right to adequate representation, the judge says, do you feel like your attorney is adequately representing you? That's why they asked, Ron. Again, you're not an attorney, so you don't know this, so stop speaking authoritatively on it. Do you feel like you've adequately been represented? And by the way, you fucks raised the specter of hijacked cases. So the judge had a duty to go ahead and just say, by the way, do you feel like your case has been hijacked? Because you idiots raised it based on falsehoods. You fucking lied to the court over and over, and you know it. And then you try and act like that somehow is evidence. The court has to go ahead and pursue all avenues. Say, well, I mean, do you feel like you were cheated? No, I feel like I've been greatly represented. Okay, fine, and who cares? God, you cunt. Fuck you. Bad Vibe says some facts that need restated. 1, Vic got 3 live action movies, one of which with Eric Roberts. 2, Ron no longer works for the company he was offering the sponsorship to KamehamehaCon. 3, all of which occurred after the lawsuit. There you go.
It's in the transcripts.
Well, I think that was more so about the social media thing, wasn't it?
It was no, and that line of questioning.
Yes, it was. God damn it, you liar! Can you go a fucking minute with any amount of honesty? 1 minute of honesty. Is it even possible? Is it even possible? Bad Vibe says, in my opinion, Monica targeted Vic years ago because he's easygoing, humble, generally easygoing. I believe Monica displays predatory behavior. Monica's a pile of trash. There's no other way of saying it. Monica Rial is a pile of garbage.
About, do you know how much is in the lawsuit? Do you know what this is? And he was like, no, I trusted my attorney. No, I trusted my attorney. No, I trusted my attorney. So it's like,
didn't you trust your attorney, Ron? Because you literally have no idea how to do this?
Was it being communicated?
I mean,
I trusted my attorney. Was it being communicated? Those are different questions. You didn't ask, was it being communicated?
That line that came from the judge, I personally took it as him asking if he felt like the internet hijacked his case a little bit. I mean, that's the way that I took it.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, but
I didn't consider that angle, so I'll.
You didn't consider that angle because, Ron, you are clinically incapable of considering another angle. You're a narcissist. You're a sociopath. You're a wife-beating fucking abuser. who I would wager diddles kids and fucks dogs because you're disgusting and degenerate. But that being said, of course you didn't consider that angle. You don't consider the opposing angle ever. You're disgusting.
That's actually a decent perspective. I didn't even
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't even fucking think about it because I'm dumb.
think about that, but maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But even, nevertheless, it's part of the lawsuit. It's part of the process. And that's where it's looking at the net tangible benefit. Maybe it got him to your con.
Net tangible benefits don't exist, you fucking dummy.
But what about next year? Because what if he loses?
What? Cress. Hey, Cress, how's it going? Next year, would you like to have Vic at Kitchener Comic Con? Would Vic be a good guest at Kitchener City Comic Con? You don't have to answer, but would Vic be a good guest at Kitchener City Comic Con next year? I don't know. Maybe you can answer. You don't have to, but maybe you could.
Loses everything.
He'd be a great guest.
Honestly,
he'd be a great guest. Jesus Christ.
Full disclosure, if he loses every single appeal that he brings up, it's still not going to change my opinion.
That's okay.
Like, honestly, because
You literally set it up as it not being okay. Oh! Can you be honest with your own position? Can you be consistent for 12 seconds? 12 fucking seconds, Ron. I can't afford all these pauses. I can't afford to address every stupid thing you say. I don't have it in me. 12 seconds from will he come next year? Yeah, he'd come next year. That's okay. Jesus Christ.
meeting him, seeing him interact with people, regardless of what had happened before or has never been proven, etc. I saw what he can do for a convention. I'll speak to that because I can see what he does for a convention. So whether other people, like, I can't twist the arm of another convention and say, you better get him. I can just say, we had him. He was a great time. He was an excellent guest. That's it. That's all any of us can say.
Right.
But when you, like, at the end of the day, it's like, it's going to be down to
No, Ron, it's wrong. According to your position, it's literally wrong. It must be wrong. You set up the proposition that everything Cress is saying is wrong. It can't just be right. If it's right, then you're stupid. How goddamn dumb are you?
them to do it. And like, honestly, for Kitchener Comic Con in 2020 this year, I was the sole person handling.
By the way, Kitchener Comic Con won 2 local awards for being the best tourist attraction and the best, like, show or whatever in Kitchener. They won 2 awards for it, even though they had a sexual predator at their show. Jesus Christ.
Social media for 99% of the time until we got another team member to help me out with it. It was just 2 of us.
Yeah.
There are conventions out there that have literal teams of people. And if they can't handle the stuff that we went through, that 2 people handled, they
Right.
don't deserve to have a convention.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ron. Yeah. They can't handle it. They don't deserve a convention. Yeah. God, this fucking affirmative soy boy beta piece of shit. Ron, if you had a single goddamn microgram of testosterone in your system, you would say no and stand up for your position. But instead, you retreat harder than the French on fucking Christmas. God, you're embarrassing to manhood.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
But the bottom line, it's like, when it comes down to it, it's like, Vic came to Kitchener Comic Con, did something amazing, did a lot of great stuff. People made a lot of memorable times for a lot of people. And there are a bunch of people out there that still have bad opinions about him. But the fact of the matter is that people were at our convention that both loved and hated him, and people that didn't know who the hell he was.
Yeah.
Everyone can coexist.
Yeah.
That goes without saying.
Yeah. Thanks for going against everything I said. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Has he ever disagreed? No. You know why Ron can't disagree? By the way, maybe Ken can back me up on this. I don't know. But a narcissist in public can't disagree because a disagreement would leave the possibility that they're incorrect. So instead, what they try to do is they agree with the public proposition and then work to control the narrative to mold it to fit their predisposition. Now, I don't know if that's right or if that's in the narcissist DSMV or whatever. I don't know. But I will suggest it personally, and I will front it as a reality that a narcissist in public is more suited to agree with the publicly purported position and then attempt to manipulate the facts to meet their existing narrative rather than to leave the possibility that they are incorrect. So Ken, if you want to go ahead and prove me wrong on that, please do. But I think I'm right on that.
Would we have gotten there without him filing a lawsuit? I don't think so.
Right.
And so, like, I think it was a step that was needed. Like, do I think they made the right choice? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
Right.
Did they choose to sue the right people? I have no idea. Like, I'm not privy to anything in their way of doing things or thinking or whatever else, and I'm not close enough to Vic to have him tell me that information, nor should I be. But the fact of the matter is, it's like, they made the choices they made for whatever reason, and Ty had stated a number of times.
If you're in a debate with someone and all you say is right, you lose. And for evidence, see Mitt Romney's third debate with Obama, circa 2012.
Times from what I recall from him being on with Nick, was that part of their goal was to get him back to conventions. Mm-hmm. And that at least met part of that goal. Like, obviously, they would love to win everything. That would be great. But they've at least achieved the base goal of getting him back in the door at conventions.
Right. Yeah.
And also getting back to one of your earlier questions, if we have Vic back, if he wins or loses, then
Right, yeah, right, yeah, right. I'm gonna go on Twitter and disagree with everything you said once I leave. Once I leave, I'm gonna make a new account on Twitter. I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna fuck up everybody. I'm gonna spread my truth. I'm gonna spread my truth because Monica won't let me spread her legs.
the next round of court appearance. At this particular point in time, we're still determining on who we want our guests to be and how our event will look like in 2021. Right. As things stand at this immediate point in time, everything lines up. Of course, we'll have Vic back. Why? Because he was good for our convention. He was good for our region. He was good for actual attendees that were there. Lots of fun, lots of positivity, a lot of great convention moments. And the thing is that, again, from an event coordinator perspective, we would have him back, no problems, as long as things are within our realm of
course you would.
If we could do it.
It just goes against my entire narrative.
Of course. And also on top of that, let's get back even further about healing things, because, you know, sometimes I'm a shameless promoter. If you want healing, come on out to Kitchener Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get everyone together. Maybe we can sit down and talk over a pack.
I can't go when someone has assaulted my personal fucking fiance. God, invite Monica. I dare you. Of course she'll say no, and then post the no. Post the no. Post the pettiness. Fuck these people.
Panel, perhaps maybe a couple of maybe over a couple of fine beers from the people over at the Waterloo Brewery place, perhaps. But however,
I'll bring the Strange Brew soundtrack on LP, and we'll all sit down in a room and have a powwow.
Long story short, the thing is that, again, getting back to what I was saying from earlier, the question is if everything lined up properly? Of course, not a problem.
Yeah. And that's part of that's exciting. And that's where on the last podcast, I apologize to you for anybody that was rude to your convention or tried to be, you know, try to interfere with that stuff. It's not behavior that I'm not.
Hey, Ron, you're responsible for it, you cunt. You piece of shit. You fucking garbage dumpster of a human. Because you said I'm responsible for it against Monica. Fuck you. Fuck you. Your affiants are responsible for it. Lynn Cunt is responsible for it. You fucking garbage humans stirred up this shit. Lynn Cunt, your affiant, who lied in her affidavit about having personal knowledge because she admitted on Twitter to using someone else's notes to fulfill out her personal knowledge of events. That piece of psychotic shit that you support and lick the anus of, you are responsible. You hold me responsible for negative shit that happens to Monica, and all I've ever said is don't ever talk to these people. Don't contact them. Don't harass them. They don't deserve it. And if you like them, go see them at their booth and be polite. That's all I've ever said. And you hold me responsible? Fuck you. You and your affiants brought up this shit against Kitchener. Fuck all of you. They went after their funding. They went after their guests. They went after everything. And they're the people that you're sucking the dick of Lynn Transsexual Hunt all fucking day. You piece of shit liar. I fucking despise you disingenuous cockbags. Every single time you come out and you openly support the harassment of someone else, and then you hold me, who actively says don't harass anybody ever, laugh at them from as far away as possible, and you blame me for this shit when you're engaged in actively fucking over conventions. Fuck you, you liar. We know you fucked Kamea Khan. We know you tried to fuck Kitchener. Fuck off.
I'm not going to tell someone not to do certain things, but I can also say what my personal opinion is, and I don't think people should be harassing conventions that decide to invite Vic.
Yes, you do, you fucking liar.
Now, will people do it? Maybe. I don't think it's appropriate.
Yes, you do, you fucking liar. You have never once. I have publicly stated not to do this about 1,000 times. You have never once stated to not do it. Never fucking once. In fact, you stated the opposite, you piece of shit liar.
I think that the man should be, if people want to invite him, they should invite him. If they don't,
lie, you fucking liar.
Don't. But I don't think people should be harassing conventions because it is how he makes a living.
Yes, you do.
And I haven't.
You fucking tweeted that he should be fired from every convention. You goddamn liar. How on earth are you this fucking dishonest?
Done that. And that's the part where it's like, it sucks, but I understand why he's upset. I don't care which cons invite him.
You understand why he's upset because you literally told cons not to invite him. You told Kitchener, you publicly stated that cons shouldn't invite him. You've publicly stated over and over that he should not be allowed around people because he's a sexual predator. You fucking liar. God damn it. I can't believe this shit.
Or don't invite him. And it looks like he did the work he promised. So I hope he gets invited to a ton of cons.
Yeah.
Lying fucking shitbag. I know, Cress and Ron, why you didn't press him on this. I know you didn't. I know why you didn't. I don't in any way want this to reflect negatively on you. But this motherfucker goes on and lies when there's a camera, and then he tells the truth on Kiwi Farms and Twitter, and he's a fucking dishonest mongrel.
But that's where we go back to healing and all that. It's going to suck because he's going to have a big, massive debt. And
you have a big, massive debt too, you fucking cunt.
Well, the thing is that when it comes down to that's his choice, which is to pursue that or not. And the thing is that we within this conversation cannot determine what's good for Vic from a financial perspective, because when it comes down to it, to quote a friend of mine, it's none of our business.
Right, that's true. None of our fucking business. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If it was going to buy a Tesla, that's up to Vic to do, for goodness sakes.
Right.
But
Matt Field says, "Oh, I missed this, Nick."
long story short, what he does with his own money, his own time, his own energy is totally up to him.
Yeah, and I hope your guys' con is super successful. It looked like you guys had a great...
In 5 minutes, I'm ending the interview, and we will never revisit it again, whether Ron is done or not. I think, I don't know if he will be, but then we'll do super chats and we'll wrap up.
time. There's probably, everybody there is awesome, and it's like, the fans, just leave them alone, man. There's enough shit out there and drama. And
You and your goddamn fiance are reporting the fans to the fucking Department of Homeland Security. Fuck you. Jesus Christ. I'll leave the fans alone. Fuck you, you dishonest cunt.
anger and hate, they don't need to have that multiplied.
You guys are multiplying it.
And that's where I've been happy that my Twitter is suspended, because I haven't been on there, and now it's like,
I've been happy look, the lie has played out in fucking real time. Ron broke and had to create a second Twitter. He had to create a second Twitter. I'm so happy my Twitter's been suspended because blah, 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 blah. Lie.
I don't know if I want it back.
Yes, you do, you lying sack of shit.
I was going to ask you how
I'm desperately waiting to create another one. All it'll take is Nick pointing out the fact that I beat my fucking ex-wife. I beat her and abused her because I'm an abusive piece of shit. Oh, I also threatened to murder a judge's family, and I threatened to chop up a dog. Fuck you, Ron.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know. They never sent me an email. I don't have any correspondence. It's shut down. I can't access any of my messages. Nothing. I don't know how Twitter suspension works, but
it works like this. You got fucking suspended for being hateful, right, Ron? That's what you told me. You told me it was because I was such a hateful monster. Fuck you, you liar.
they didn't tell me.
They usually tell you why it's suspended, but
Nothing.
Lie. Ron definitely got an email. That email was vague, and it said he was suspended for violation of the terms against hateful conduct. That's it. That's all it ever says. But Ron is lying. I never got an email. Yes, you did. Yes, you did, you liar. He doesn't want to admit that Twitter said he was suspended for hateful conduct, probably against a particular protected group. Ron doesn't want to admit that Twitter told him that because he told me that Twitter was always right in these decisions and that I must be hateful. Ron doesn't know what to do when he's proven wrong because he's a narcissistic, sociopathic pile of trash. As Cybertaz says, the highlight of Monica's beans existence is that Vic ate a simulacrum of it after she offered it to him. Before, she constantly abused it while thinking about Vic and never Ron. This inadequate marmot can never satisfy her howling mine shaft. Check GoFundMe. Let's check the GoFundMe, shall we? Shall we check the GoFundMe? Where the fuck did it go? Hold on. Oh, wait, here it is. Here's the GoFundMe. Oh, we're at $283,210. You guys blew it out of the damn water. Michael S. Cybertaz, Steffens, Eric Gannick, Anonymous, that's me, Major Asshole, Look Here, Listen, Frank Casamento. Thank you all for your donations. Thank you all for bringing it over 283,000. I really do appreciate that. Okay, back to it. We got a couple, like 2 minutes left.
I've had a few get suspended with either no reason why, or you've made other accounts thing.
Yeah.
I get flagged for different reasons. I don't even say I don't like attack people. It's just some of my different things I follow, I get a little bit of hate on.
Yeah.
So they tend to get mass flagged. So I've had to allegedly create other accounts.
Right. I wish, but no, on mine, it just, I think maybe potentially I don't know what it is. That's what's interesting. It's like,
I think you know what he was going to say there, and he realized what he was about to say. I think maybe potentially I got an email and I disagreed with it. Oh shit. Really, Ron?
I would love to know why they suspended me. You know?
Everybody would, you fuck. Oh, it's definitely because you're hateful and evil. No, Ron, let me say this on the record. Ron Toye was never suspendable on Twitter. Nothing Ron Toye ever did on Twitter merited suspension. Ron Toye should not have been suspended on Twitter, and suspending him was a fucking injustice. And a bunch of people sent me email or like screenshots that they had reported him. And many of them said, I don't even remember why I reported him. And it was like, God damn it, I wish you wouldn't have. Ron should never have been suspended on Twitter. Because Ron didn't do anything wrong. But that's Twitter. Hey, Ron, maybe, just maybe, the other people that you swear are evil bastards or whatever for getting suspended on Twitter, maybe they weren't either.
I sent an email to them like whenever like you try to log in, because at first I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with Twitter? Like I can't.
He sent an email to appeal his suspension based on the email that he got. He's lying right here. I can guarantee it.
And I log in and do my thing. And I'm an idiot when it comes to technology, so I'm like, this is fucked up. I was like, maybe it's my phone. Let me clear the cache. And then
I'll clear the cat. You got an email, you liar, and you responded to the email in the appeals process that they laid out in the email. I'm bad at Twitter, but I appealed it. You laid out in the email how to do it, you fucking liar.
I tried to tweet, it's like, your account suspended. I was like, whose account suspended? And then finally, then I was like, press the help button, and that is confusing in and of itself. And so I pressed the thing, I'm like, hey, you guys suspended my account, no answer.
On the help button? Really, Ron? Really?
There's no nada. What's going on? No response. I'm like, fuck it. I got no time to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
And that's where we're stopping. I literally don't care what Ron says after this. There's technically 22 minutes left of interview. 22 and a half. I don't care what he says after this. I'm done with it. I will not revisit this interview again. Ron is a piece of shit. Ron is a liar. It's plainly apparent from this interview that Ron is a liar. There's nothing I need to say to make Ron a liar. Ron has lied over and over and over again, and I am fucking done with it. I'm done with it. Will I ever do a Ronversations by Proxy again? Only on the limited interaction that Ron had with Emish on DA Talk's stream, maybe. And that's only if I can figure out if it's actually worth my time. I'm not going to give him any more time. If Ron talks to me directly, I will do Ronversations again. If Ron messages me directly, he has not done so on his new Twitter account. If he messages me directly, I may do Ronversations again. Other than that, I'm not going to revisit Ronversations by Proxy, except in the limited capacity of possibly doing the Emish interview. I haven't watched it, so I can't evaluate whether or not I would do it. This interview is done. Done. So let's talk chats. We'll do Justice chats and then Super chats, and then we will go over to Twitch for Train to Busan. Okay, Salt Miners Union has donated. He says, Soye.exe has stopped working. P.S. I don't think it's smart of Ron to publicly go after, harass, and lie about an alleged fact witness. Just makes him look petty, like a petty, vindictive bitch. I guess that's the consequences and retribution Ron talked about. Look, if this goes back, right now, Ron is in the clear talking about Stan Dolan and stuff like that. If this does go back to the trial court, he may have problems. And he will certainly have problems if he continues acting like this about a fact witness. But right now, the case is over as far as the trial court is concerned. And therefore, Stan Dolan is out of it for the moment. And he's probably fine to say whatever he wants. I've gotten a couple questions about that, so I wanted to address it. Rhett Sudo Says, hey, Nick, just started following the Ronversations, both the original and Proxy. Holy hell, I've never seen a bitch boy and fat girl duo do so much damage without even moving, and I'm in Oregon. Damn. TLJ Screwjob says, so wait, Vic has to prove TI and conspiracy without discovery, and if he can't, then it can't be re-added, even if it did in fact happen? Why is this TCPA law a thing? No, he doesn't have to prove it. That's the misunderstanding on the TCPA, and that's where Law Twitter has gotten things wrong, is they say he has to prove these things. He doesn't. He has to show a prima facie showing of these things. And let me just say, he actually has done that. He has made a prima facie showing. Whether or not the court will agree, if they don't, what is a prima facie showing if this isn't? And in the age of the digital communication era, it's a good question. And they may decide that it's not. And if Texas were to decide that Vic's case is not enough of a prima facie showing, and that goes to the appellate court and that's affirmed, everyone in Texas will immediately have a new understanding of what it takes to bring a defamation lawsuit, and that you probably can't bring one as a semi-public figure, that you just can't. TLJ Screwjob says, after Ron said, let's pretend 100% of this happened, Lemoyne voice says, no, wait a minute, Ron, no. Kermit the Frog says, oh, hey there, Mr. Libertarian BLM protester. You sure look tough carrying there that AK-47. What's that? You're approaching my stopped car while I'm being mobbed? Do you feel like playing stupid games? Because I have a stupid prize right here for you, bitch. Crusader Saracen says, I don't think Rooster Teeth is going to have to worry about hiring anyone pretty soon here. Me either. Stupid Toy says, do you think you are the Joker to Ron's Batman in his twisted soy-filled mind? I would have said Cuckman, but Neil has that title. Maybe even Sheepdog Man. I don't know. Maybe. Ethical Dilemma. Ethical Dilemma says, Ron Soye talking about the law is like Ron Soye talking about pleasing a woman. Is no knowledge or interest in either. Also, Jesus, the level of delusion is like when Veronica thought they had a legit case against Vic. Rip transcriber's fingers. Night of OPEC says Monica Rial is a pile of horses and not one of them is bad at eating. Malik Foxen says, wait, Ron criticizing Vic for trusting his attorney, but he seems to trust his own attorney without question, even though he's been outed even by Chup to be overcharging him for fees? Huh? All right, Ron. As Quartering would say, I got a bridge to sell you. Yeah. Mario Carter 13 says Regis Philbin asked 14 questions for 88 years. Ulash 1 says, I promise to stop requesting the burning of the awful shorts if we stop bringing up this little troll because he feeds on the attention. Yeah, like I said, I've laid out the extent of future Ron interactions. Cemetery Lady says, hashtag Mr. Peacock for Supreme Court. I agree. Ulash 1 says this is dragged out more than DBZ or Naruto filler. Sapient Underground says, PSA from Oz, it's pronounced Ozzy, not Orsi. Okay. I need to have Oz on the show. Polio64 says, I haven't gotten notifications for 2 weeks. I just tried to resub twice to allow to all notifications by clicking the bell. I've been subbed for a year. Yeah, by the way, guys, that's something that has been going on lately. I don't like talking about behind the scenes shit on YouTube. I feel like I'm whining about it, but people are getting unsubbed from the channel and people's notifications aren't getting out. I saw that the Quartering has a website that he just put up with notifications because of the same bullshit. And I'm strongly considering creating a Rekieta Media website to get notifications for all of my channels automatically through that website. I will keep y'all posted. That might be a much better option than the YouTube option. So, oh, Aussie, not Aussie. Oh, okay. I say Aussie. Ulash says, Nick, if you don't have Peacock for the Hook show, you're in for a lynching. We'll see what shows Hook wants to do. No ends, thanks for the donation. Shadows King 101 says, I still wish I had the Tricky Nick shirt. Wisemax 33 says, today was my family's first full day of our vacation. We had to put down one of our dogs. Can you drink a shot for him, Nick? I mean, I'm a little toasted already. I don't know if you noticed, but yeah, I can do that. Not a full shot. I'll do like a half or something. Because I'm already, and I really have to take a leak, so I don't want to add too much more. This is about a half shot. Whoo! Caging Runt has upgraded their membership to Super Lawyer. Sorry I didn't see that earlier. Welcome. Make sure you find the Discord invite. Mega Lone Wolf 20 says Andy is a good guy. Also, his name is pronounced no, but we can see how it can be confusing. I just never knew. So, Andy, no. Thank you. Perfect. Timothy Reaper says, if you invite Drex or Q for a Ronversation stream, it would be Late Gay, Black, and Toye. Red Sweato says, Ron's face is red. Monica's eyes is blue. Vic is still innocent. Ron wants to be too. Ron will never be innocent. He is a wife beater. Ash Ukihime says, hey, Nick, just wanted to say I'm a guy. Since you and Drex didn't know if I was a guy or girl that was concerned about being 30, sorry for the confusion. Can you wish me a happy 30th, even if it's late? Absolutely, Ash. Happy 30th birthday to you. I think I wished you a happy birthday on that show, but happy birthday, buddy. Cold Wolf says, glad you like the shirts, rackets. They're fantastic. Thank you, Cold Wolf. Ash Ukihime also says, sorry for the random request. Just needed something to cheer me up since it's been a rough since my birthday passed and I lost 7 to COVID. Oh my God. Watching your videos cheers me up often. Question, are you Irish? I'm mixed. I don't think so. I'm mostly Polish. I've got a good mix of French, German, and Dutch in there as well. But the dominant is Polish. That's why I'm stupid. John Albert says, Ron, Monica and Jamie are still getting work and going to cons. So wait, they didn't lose work as they stated in their sanctions? One's a lie and one isn't. God of Plague says, do you know about the Tom King Jay Lee mess? Yes, I tweeted that Tom King is a massive bitch. Because he is. Fuck him. Tom King's a piece of shit. Polyfrog says, looking forward to the DSP stream. Can't wait for it. Me either. I hope he comes on. I really do. 200 Watt Studio says, do you think it even occurs to Ron that Monica doesn't tell him anything? Why doesn't that bother him? As a man, normally it would. He is a boy. It should bother him. It should bother him. If I found out from Lady Rackets that she was hiding something from me, by the way, we just had our 16th anniversary 4 days ago. 16 years of being married. That's longer than we've been together. That's shorter than we've been together, obviously. Our engagement was about a year. A little over a year, I think. I don't remember. Yeah. We met in 2002, in fall of 2002. We were married in summer of 2004. So, we've known each other for just under 18 years, but we've been married for 16 years. And if I found out now that someone had assaulted her, especially if she kept seeing that person, we would have to have a real conversation, like a real conversation about that. And that is insane. That's insane to think that after and by the way, if we had just been married for, let's say, 5 years, Ron and Monica have been engaged for 6. Let's say 5 years of that were actual marriage. If we'd been married for 5 years and I found out then that someone had assaulted her that she hadn't told me about and she was continuing to see, we would have words about that. We would have a legitimate, not a fight necessarily, but a real complicated discussion. We may even have to have someone else involved in that discussion. That's serious shit to just let sit under the surface and simmer. Why wouldn't you tell your partner this? They're your partner. They're your support. Like, if they don't trust you to support them through that, what can you possibly trust them with? Landon Jung, welcome to Paralegal Status. Thank you so much. Warax says, War X, not Warax. Warax is a fucking monster in Master of Magic, I love him. Warex says, Ron, let's pretend 100% of this happened. Toye. Spoder Fuchs 9 says, Ron hit you in front of my boy Toye. Mario Carter 13 says, Scott funnies Beretta to the brain stream. Beretto. The Buzz CJC says, Robo Vampire says, on Prime for Twitch, it's horrible and glorious. Tonight we're watching Train to Busan. Polyfrog64 says, Chris Hansen and ICP are coming for Ethan Ralph. I saw something about that. That'll be great. Polyfrog says, I don't like PPP, but he's got them coming for Ralph. Oh, Jesus. Kalinka Pavlova says, when your country stops being lit on fire by obese tankies, perhaps I'll come visit with the family and gently raid your alcohol collection as penance. Kalinka, if you come to Minnesota, you and your family would be welcome to come by my place, or to at least meet up at a restaurant or something, whatever you're comfortable with. Absolutely. If you come to the U.S., you're welcome to hang out. No One Important says, Ron, Strawman, and Goalpost moving is hilarious. Angie says, rip the gavel, the desk, and the drink. Kuro Mythos says, good man, you know the rule for a party foul. Timothy Reaper says, what do you call a Ron-shaped dildo? A sex toy, eh? Angry Hydralist says, so did your table add any flavor to your drink? No. And he also says, also stop spilling your drink near your PC, Nick. Yeah, that is a problem. It's just how it goes. Niels Mulvad says, I've had fun the last few days calling Ron a cuck on Twitter. I know it's low-hanging fruit, but I don't care. He deserves the stress. Also, Nick, you keep butchering my last name. How the fuck do I say your last name, Niels? Niels Mulvad. It's, what, Danish? I don't know. Bad Vibe says, side note, every time any of the other three make a point, Ron lies by agreement. He doesn't agree with their point. Yes. Skyhime says, but Nick, you're Vic's lawyer in the court of opinion. That's the only court that matters to Moronica. Cesario Acosta says, like the French on Christmas, holy fook, that's a great insult. Here's 5 for it. I've never laughed so hard at work. Sorry. I apologize for any damage the laughing has caused you. Kron9 says, Ron is the result of a child who's not hugged enough. Bad Vibe says, can't pay a debt if you're jobless. That's true. Shadowgoff says, laugh from a distance. Nick was training us for COVID. I know it. I knew it was happening. So, Niels, how do I say your last name? If you want a mindfuck, then try to pronounce my middle name. Logstrup. I don't know how to fuck. Danish shit is impossible to pronounce. What was it? In that Simpsons episode when the aliens are like, your tongue couldn't pronounce my name. That's how Danish is for me. Kalinka says, is that new Twitter really Ron's though? I absolutely 100% believe it's Ron's. Absolutely believe it's Ron's. I don't have any evidence for or against it, but yeah, I believe it's Ron's. And I believe it. Here's my inferential evidence is that he stopped posting on YouTube videos and he stopped posting on Kiwi Farms the moment he got his new Twitter. Batgoat says, love you, Griff Daddy. Glad you have cooled out. Don't hurt yourself with Ron anymore. Robot Rumble says, Ron didn't lie about one thing. He definitely hit his wife, court confirmed, and the people defending him are immoral, disingenuous trash. Absolutely. Bad Vibe says, Lemoyne is a wheezing idiot who's currently doing his best Bubble Boy impersonation to avoid the coof. May he succeed, even if it's just to read more lies and stupidity. Kalinka Pavlova says, Nick, your voice is sounding a bit rough. That's just the liquor. It's okay. Franco Miranda says, with everything happening this year, the one thing I ask for is for Vic to win on appeal. That and for the Court of Appeals to ream Chup for that comment to tie. That would be great. We'll have to see if it happens. And finally, TLJ Screwjob says, okay, but what about being brought back thing like Funny's in on defamation but not TI, but then with Discovery they commit TI, so Vic just effed with Funny's TI? Yeah. If that's the case. Unless they discover something new that they didn't bring before. But any new claims they add would be subject to another TCPA. So it all depends. If this thing comes back, I have to warn you guys, if this thing comes back on TCPA, it is a 2 to 5 year proposition on full resolution. So it's a long fucking window if it comes back on appeals. If it comes back on appeals, don't expect a bunch of lightning round shit like we had early on. It is likely going to take forever. Okay, guys, that's it. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn on the outro, and then I'm going to go take a leak. And then we'll be over on Twitch for Train to Busan. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. I love you all. We'll see you tomorrow for another show. And we'll see you on Twitch if you come over there. Have a good night. Peace. Peace. Oh my God, I gotta piss!
Oh, he drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some lost-plaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Maine to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an art bag, a bow, more of love rug. The spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the team post on Twitter as we hear lost-plaining tonight. From the white shores of Nam to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the team post on Twitter as we hear lost-plaining tonight. From the white shores of Nam to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have.